Lucas and Ottis Toole bullshit all day, and I am fucking over. Fuck these guys.
I thought you were
Like,
about to I thought you were
fuck.
about to give me like a very serious personal like look man, I just got to let you know about some shit that's going on in my life right now. We don't got
This
to talk
this
about
is
it in
going
the
on in my life. This has been engulfing my fucking entire
it
day.
it sounded it just I was ready for it to go a different direction. I was
Fuck,
like, should we stop
fuck these
recording?
guys, dude. Fuck these guys. That's all I have to say. Intro the show. Tell them who we are.
Yeah, so with that, we are the Devil's Work podcast. My name is Skeptik, and the laughing and crying man in equal measures
God
is
damn it.
Sideshow.
Yeah, man, I'm just going through it today, man. I guess 24 hours of this fucking of my life has been spent watching the documentary, watching like listening to the fucking podcast about him. Like it's a lot, man. I don't like this guy. I don't. I just gotta say I don't like him. And this movie's adaptation or interpretation of him wildly inaccurate.
It's funny that you say
Wild.
that because I think I just always assumed it was accurate just because it's all I
All
know.
I've ever known. Yeah, 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 for
Yeah,
sure.
so like for no good reason did I
For
think
sure, for
that
sure.
it
You just took it
was.
on faith.
Yeah, I just went, why movie lie?
Yeah, no. They lied as hard as he fucking did in real life, bro. Like this shit is that is what there I'll say okay, right before I shit on all over it. There are a lot of elements in there that I wasn't expecting them to include in the movie that were close to the reality of the situation. I
Interesting.
will say that. There was like aspects of his character that they included that I was like, "Oh, that is weirdly accurate." You know what I mean? So it's accurate in a lot of ways, inaccurate in most. I'll say that.
Interesting.
A lot of it is inaccurate. Now,
Well,
the ending, all of it. I'm gonna get into it, but
yeah, the ending definitely.
yeah,
You
yeah,
spent
yeah.
2 seconds on Wikipedia, and it's pretty clear that that's
For
not
sure,
nothing
yeah.
went down like that.
But beyond that, you got Michael fucking Rooker playing his ass like
Yondu
get
himself,
fucked, dude. I cannot for 1 second believe that he would be playing
T.S.
that fucking
Quinn's
asshole.
girlfriend's dad. I can't remember the name of any characters in that movie
Yeah,
other
yeah,
than
yeah.
T.S. and Brody.
No, yeah, that.
He ate the
Oh.
shitty pretzels. Good old
That's
Michael Rooker. Good
yeah.
old, not Daryl Dixon, the other
Not
one, Merle
the other
Dixon.
Merle Dixon. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Merle Dixon,
Merle.
the
Yeah.
two guys that aren't in the book.
Oh man. Yeah, 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 yeah. For sure. I mean, and dude, Michael Rooker. Nothing against him, man, at all.
Oh
But
no, he's
like Henry
fantastic.
Lee Lucas is a
He's
fucking
Mary fucking
monster.
Poppins, as far as I'm concerned. The biggest badass
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
ever heard of.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like, yeah. We'll it just we got to get into it because
He's got a
I'm fucking.
gravitas to
He
him.
does. He does. I will say those performances did carry the movie a lot for me. His in particular, I will say, out of the three characters that we see, his was the best one. Obviously, like quite literally, he's just the best version of best person in this movie.
Hmm.
The entire movie though I was like they are making him out to be some sort of like charming like misunderstood character. I was like
It's
what is going
interesting.
on?
I didn't get that from it. I got more like when he's getting like positive female attention, for example.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
got more like him trying to shrink away from everything.
Yeah, yeah. We have to kind of get into it to kind
Yeah,
of parse through
yeah.
the little like things, but
Today we're doing not a fun one.
yeah.
There's nothing fun about this.
I will say though, I laughed a lot more than I was expecting to, and yeah,
Th
that's it. Does that speak to our desensitization?
yes.
Maybe,
Hard
maybe,
yes.
perhaps.
Hard
Did we
yes.
just cover one of the most gruesome, fucking grueling movies that we've ever done on this show? Yes, but still, was this a palate cleanser? I wouldn't say that much, but definitely was like lighter than the tone of last week's.
Yeah, that's for true. That's for true.
Yeah, dude.
It's, I remembered it being a lot worse than it is, but what it is that it has this like you can cut it with a knife
Oh yeah.
this horrifying,
Ugh.
oppressive atmosphere that
Yeah.
just comes into your home when you're watching this movie. You just
Yeah,
feel,
I definitely had like
ugh.
the nasty face on the entire time. I was like, mm-mm, mm-mm. I
Yeah.
don't like that. So yeah, there's a grime about it. There's a layer of filth over the whole
This
movie.
this is the 1986 independent psychological horror film directed and co-written by John McNaughton. This is
Interesting that they
the
say psychological.
I would
I
agree
was gonna say
though.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, in a lot of ways, I just feel like for me, it kind of borders on exploitation. Only
Hmm.
because I did literally just watch another exploitation film before this, and it literally is like I was like, oh, it's just one to one. It's another exploitation film. So
It
there's
ki-
like elements of it in there.
it kind of is, but I feel like there is. I mean, it's not even kind of. It is, but I
Mm.
feel like there's also an underlying, like there is a layer. That's my purpose. I just started the new Yakuza game, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, which is
Such a great
incredible
name.
title,
It's a
incredible game,
great
best
name.
fucking series. Oh my God, Sega, they stopped making consoles to just make the best
Yeah,
game.
just to make the best game.
Whew. But there's a cooking mini game in it, and when you're making like soups, you have to skim the scum off the top of the broth. You gotta
That
skim the
scum.
scum.
That scum is this movie.
That's what I do is I skim that scum and I find some sort of meaningful layer, and I might have
That's our
something here.
entire podcast.
Yeah, skim.
Arguably,
We're
that's skim
changing our
the
name. Let's
scum.
start over. Welcome. We are the Skim the Scum podcast, and tonight we'll be skimming the 1986 film Henry, Portrait of a
uh,
Serial Killer.
yeah, yeah. This is this one is not. And you know, I will say, yeah, it's not as graphic, but goddamn, dude, that last like towards the end, that just takes a nosedive for the tonal shift. Like that
Mhm.
shit just complete. I was
Out
like,
of nowhere.
whoa,
You almost there are parts of this movie.
where you feel it kind of revving up, but mm-mm.
Totally. There's the score is
Yeah,
utilized so well. The
yeah.
the the drops, the like they'll like it's not, not do a needle drop. They'll like just be playing a song and then they'll do sort of like an anti-needle drop where like they're playing a song, everything's
Yeah,
nice, we're having a good time. Two sex workers get
I
into the car
love
with
that you
them,
put it
and
that
then all
way.
of a sudden it's boom, and you're just like, "Oh fuck, those women are dead."
You're so right. It's so funny. Anti-needle drope's the best way to describe that.
They take away all the fun. But then there's
Yeah.
also parts where like they're when they're at their house and Otis's sister is there and she's like, "Why don't you guys go get a beer?" And then Otis
That
goes and
whole
puts
little
his get going out shirt on. That like
the
blue
one blue like shimmering shirt. Yeah.
just like out of nowhere. Um and you're like, oh yeah, okay. Like you start to think like, oh, they're gonna go out and have a beer and they're gonna like talk about what just happened and
Oh
everything.
no,
But then they
I
just go
was
do murders and you're like,
go do
oh
murders.
shit. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, fuck, forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I well because okay, because I've been also like I had read about the Henry Lee Lucas stuff way before I'd seen the movie. And so watching the movie, I had always known that this was based off of Henry Lee Lucas. So I was like, "Oh, okay, like that's kind of cool."
And I can see why, because at this time people probably just believed more of his bullshit.
This was all his face value bullshit. Yeah. So I mean, let me kind of just right off the
Yeah,
top just give an
please.
overall summarization of
Yeah,
Henry Lee Lucas.
because this is a movie for those that don't
Mhm.
know. This movie is about, the two real serial killers, Henry Lee Lucas and
Yep.
Otis Toole, who
Yes.
who did know each other, who did do some murders together.
Arguable.
Okay, argue. Well,
Arguable.
even that much is arguable. Okay, well, please
Yeah. That's what I'm
take it
saying. So
away. Take it
yeah,
away.
so for those who aren't aware, uh, allegedly he was
Allegedly.
allegedly he was a drifter serial killer. So what he had told the police for years was that he was responsible for hundreds of murders. He was over, I think at one point he had gotten up to like 600 murders.
These
He had claimed.
motherfuckers, man.
He claimed.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
claimed of it.
They always want to be famous.
Exactly. So he claimed all of these murders. He was claiming responsibility. He was apparently being taken to the sites of where or he was allegedly taking the cops to sites where the bodies were found and the shallow graves and yada yada yada. All these things were coming up. As it turned out, later on, it was revealed that Henry Lee Lucas was actually just confessing to murders that he had no part of whatsoever. He was being fed information kind of subconsciously and subtly by the sheriff's department in Texas where he was. I believe he was in I forget the specific area of Texas. But in the Texas Sheriff's Department, he was being essentially like fed information very lightly, very
Mm.
like and like led along with a little like carrot and a stick type of thing. He was being led along and he was being shown files. He was being told this is where things were found. This is where evidence kind of is leading to. And so they would just get him to essentially close out the case, and he was being used as a means of like closing out and just racking up numbers, being like, look at how much good we're doing because we're closing all of these cold cases that we just had no idea about for years.
This is the opposite of season 5 of The Wire.
That's so funny.
Have you
So
seen The
no,
Wire?
no, I haven't.
Oh my God. In season 5 of The Wire,
Yeah,
there's a part where, because it's all about the corruption of the city, at this point, we've like been through City Hall, we've been through the school system, we've, obviously been following the police the whole time.
yeah.
And so as we're following like the City Hall and the political angle, the mayor, the guy who becomes mayor, is like fucking with the budget. So at one point, they can't pay the police to do their job,
Oh,
which,
interesting.
hey, fucking ACAB. But
Yeah,
in
yeah,
theory, the
yeah.
police that solve murders should that should be an honorable thing.
Hmm.
Going and finding who killed this guy and, figuring out some sort of that's a thing that should happen. Unfortunately, much like the show portrays, the people who do it are probably huge pieces of shit.
Hmm.
But anyway, one of the cops invents a serial killer and
Wow.
starts like making homeless deaths look like they're serial killings so that they will give out more money for the police budget. And then he's like lying and being like, "Oh, these two guys are doing surveillance for me. They did all these OT hours so they can like go work their cases."
You're not far off from the real thing.
So
That's
it's
the craziest thing. Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
I mean, I wonder how David
That's
Simon, the
crazy.
writer, he's a journalist, so I wonder, he might have taken
Yeah, yeah. Well,
inspiration.
because there was so much. That's what I'm saying. There was so many. Later on, it was like he was being paraded around as like, look, the reason why he was giving up all of these. I should add in the reason why he was confessing to all of these was because he was getting fucking shitloads of cigarettes, coffee, and
Hmm.
fucking milkshakes for his goddamn confessions. Like they were literally just giving him good fucking life. He was able to walk around without handcuffs. He was there smoking up a fucking chimney every single time they're interviewing him. They're bringing in different from all over the county. They were all over the state. They were bringing over or all over the country. They were bringing in people like from different police departments trying to close cases. They were like, yeah, he was over here. We have like a case that might match up to him. Might be this. It might fit this description. So let's see what's up with that. They find out it. They give him the evidence enough to like regurgitate back to them
Jeez.
what he was hearing, and they're like, oh look, see, that's a confessions right there, shut and close, and they closed out like fucking 50 something, no, like
Yeah,
200
yeah.
cases,
Because
like 200
the
cases,
stats matter, and
exactly.
that's a big part of the wire as well. Is he's like, give me clean stats, don't lie to me, and then he'll turn around and
Yeah,
be like, I want a 10% reduction in crime, and
that's what
it's
I'm
just like,
saying.
how the
Yeah.
fuck do you,
That's
this?
that. Yeah. It's not very far off. It's literally not very far off from what actually happened with
That's
Henry Lee Lucas. With
that's
the
crazy.
story is so much.
Because all those motherfuckers are getting bonuses.
They're getting all getting bonuses.
They're like, look, I solved 100
He was out there
murders.
taking fucking photos with them, like he's like buddies with them. He was like, yeah, this is my home. Like these are my friends and shit. I was like, are you fucking fucking kid. Like I was watching the documentary just like livid, dude. I was like, fuck this
It
asshole.
it's funny you say he was doing it for food because also on The Wire, there's a part where a guy's gonna one of the like enforcers for the drug
Mhm.
gang is gonna go to jail for life, and they're like, "Well, we already got you for like 8 murders. You're going to jail for life. There's
Mhm.
no parole, nothing you can do, and anything else you want to add?" And he's like eating a sandwich, and he goes, "Shit, for another sandwich and some coleslaw, I could go a few more."
Hey, I can't. I look. I identify. I understand it. All I'm saying.
He's like, fuck it, I'm going to jail for life. If you can give me another fucking barbecue sandwich,
God
whatever.
damn, dude. Yeah, it's wild, but like I only bring that up to say because this movie is literally like we were saying, like if they took all of his claims at face value and they were like, okay, yeah, you're the number one most prolific serial killer that ever exists.
Yeah, they all would
Done.
be.
Exactly, yeah. So this was an attempt to kind of like I don't even want to say dramatize, but like I guess dramatize his life would be the best way. It's dramatizing like a little moment in the story, though I will say, because Ottis Toole and him didn't they had met at some point and they were friends, but as far as the murders and everything go, again, it was one of those cases of like them being in the interrogation room and yes anding each other. Like that's all it
Mm,
was. Like it was essentially down like because the victims' families were coming out and later on being like, I never like my mother never wore that watch or wore her hair like that, how he claims and this and that, and she wasn't even there. They later found out that he was working like thousands of miles away, like while the time that at the time that the murders were committed. It's insane. Go watch The Confession Killer on Netflix. Like, highly recommend that docu series if you really want to know the story about this. Way too much to get into on just this podcast alone, but it's a very fascinating watch. And again, as a pairing with this movie, it's interesting to see the dramatization and like the fantastical elements kind of getting fleshed out of here because it's a good story. It's a great story. Like that's the thing. He hooked him with a fucking great story. And like he had and that's he was also notorious for like impeccable memory and like recall skills. So like that's the thing that he was using a lot of the time. They'd show him a map, be like,
mm.
"Oh yeah, there was fun around here," and then he would go when they would go in person. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's right around there." And it's like, and he even said like later on he came out and he was just like, "Yeah, they completely coerced me. None of this was real. Like I had nothing to do with any of the murders. None of that." Like so again, he confessed again to lying. So all of it is bullshit. He really can't believe a single foot. Yeah,
Anything he'll
but also
say.
fuck the cops for that one in particular. On another reason to say that, but the
Yeah,
cops were doing that shit just to fucking close out cases and shit, and like, and then they were put like turning families away when they were coming to them with evidence. They were like, yeah, that he couldn't have murdered her. Like this is what happened, and they were like, he said he did it though, so bye. And it's
yeah.
like, what the fuck,
Why
dude?
would a man
Yeah, yeah,
say
exactly.
he did a murder if he
Exactly.
didn't
Yeah.
do said murder?
Yeah. It's wild, dude. It's wild. But go watch that. I will get into like, as we're going and like the inconsistencies and stuff in the story. But as you can imagine,
Yeah.
this is a film. This is meant to be fantasy. This is the most
So
fantasy.
so your job this episode is to go,
Yeah,
actually,
exactly. I'm gonna actually a lot of this shit.
um,
But as a
they
movie,
never even touch peepees.
I was, which is true. This is a fucking another true thing. Otis and him were apparently like really in love with each other, like really in
Yeah,
love with each other.
yeah. A quick scroll will reveal that. Like it's yeah,
Yeah. It was,
interesting.
and they don't even really ever go into that in the movie. It's never. I don't know. Like that's what I'm saying. It's a very interesting character study of the idea of Henry. You know what I mean? It's like that's what this movie is in the best possible way to describe that. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I will say that all for all of the shit that I'm talking, I had a great fucking time watching this movie. This is the second
It's
time I've seen it.
interesting to say the least.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that we get to do another true crime one, man, because this one I'm more prepared for. This one I like the last one we did was like Memories of Murder way the fuck back. So
Damn, long time ago. I just
Yeah,
saw a
long.
picture of the lead of that with the lead of Old Boy on the set
Oh
of Old Boy
man.
because they were shooting at the
Yeah,
same
they were shooting
time.
at the same time. Yes, I love that photo. That's such a good photo.
It's
Go listen
fucking
to our Old
crazy.
Boy and our Memories of Murder episodes, man.
Yeah, those are two absolute slappers.
Such a good fucking series of movies, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so trigger warnings. It's a movie
You got a couple of them.
about a serial killer,
Slash rapist.
rapist,
Yeah.
stalker, real bad man to say the
Yeah, he's
least.
not a nice guy, as it turns out.
Yeah, so incest, rape, murder, stabbing,
Yeah.
shooting. Uh, I
It
don't.
kind of
Oh,
go. Yeah. I mean, well, go ahead. Go finish.
a little light pedophilia. That's a weird thing to say. Um,
Fuck.
no homophobia, I don't think.
No. There's kind of like the shitty aura of that time period just kind of looming over the looming over the whole movie. But yeah, I don't believe any blatant explicit homophobia. But yeah, and yes, at the same time, I think in the real story, in real life, he was accused and he had confessed to murdering a 15-year-old girl that I think he was claiming to be married to or
So
something like that.
that's the real Becky.
I want to say yeah, Becky is the one. That's who they're like dramatizing in this movie. That's who they're portraying in this
Yes,
movie.
yes,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
yes. So that's the real life version of her.
Which she's not fucking 15 in this movie.
No.
They aged her way up to make that less uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, it's a godsend in a movie like this.
Yes, absolutely.
This movie was actually rated X,
That makes sense.
which is
Like I said,
funny.
exploitation. It feels like an exploitation film. When I was watching it, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's all of the like the drugs and everything, all of the paraphernalia and all that shit being very like excessively grimy in here. I don't know how else to put it. Like I'm trying to find a way to phrase it, but like everything just seems more like naughty in this movie.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
hope that comes through like in the way I intended to. It's not like exploitation is just like that celebration of like the things that are not meant to be celebrated or they're not meant to be, shown and stuff like that. So like that's what exploitation is. So this is kind of just like reveling in all of that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely an exploitation film. It's just funny that X rating, like what, like it means nothing anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
man.
know,
That just means I'm gonna watch it.
pretty much. So the movie starts with a montage, a little, well, not even really like a montage, but throughout the movie, we kind of get these little flashes of different bodies in different places. And I think to begin with, we get like a few of them in progression, like a
Mhm,
quick progression,
mhm. Yeah.
just implying that he's killed before
Mhm.
and he'll kill again. He's a drifter, as we
Yeah,
mentioned,
yeah.
traveling all throughout America. He ends up in Chicago, and he stops at a diner, and that's sort of where,
That's where our story begins.
yeah, where this whole thing stops. Funny enough, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have him, and this is back when you could smoke in a diner. Okay,
The good old days.
as characterized by him smoking in a
Oh yeah,
diner.
yeah. Yeah,
Ridiculous.
he doesn't smoke nearly as much as he did in real life in this movie, I'll tell you that much.
He buys like 4 packs of cools throughout the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah. Throughout the movie, but he's hardly ever smoking them though.
He's a faker. He's
Exactly.
saving them all for prison. He knows he's going back. He's
Exactly.
stockpiling, so
Stockpiling is
I'll be
sick.
rich in there. They
That's so
arrest him
funny.
with 12 cartons of cigarettes on him, and he's like, "And you'll be bringing those to prison. Those are
Is tra-
coming to booking with me."
is trailer park rich?
That's fucking hilarious. God damn it. Uh, So he's at the diner, and the waitress super looked like Shelley Duvall. Was that just me?
No, I got that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
To,
Very much so. I don't think it was her. I don't.
yeah, to the point where I like
Had
actually
a Google.
like I wondered for a second. I was like, and it's funny because you see throughout this movie, there's like a few moments where like he masks so well, like he's really polite to her.
That's
He,
that. Those are the parts of the movie that I'm talking about where they're like kind of romanticizing him.
but I didn't take it that way. I just took it as if if I'm nice to a few people,
Mm.
maybe that'll like work in my favor later. Because he tells her like hell of a smile you got on you or something like that, which is like just a very
Yeah, yeah. Just a quick like.
very inoffensive, very light kind of compliment.
Mhm.
And then she says, "Oh, thank you," and she seems like receptive to it. And then he just says, "Okay, goodbye," and walks away. Just like I didn't expect anything from this. I was
Yeah,
just being nice to you.
yeah,
But in reality, it's just like I don't know, just if I'm nice to everyone that I don't kill, then when I get caught for killing, they'll be like, "But he was so nice."
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know, so
yeah.
it didn't ring to me at all as like true like real humanity, but like you know,
I just think that in the sense of like showing his character in this light that where you're like where he does kind of appear to be sort of a charming hero
mm.
at some point with like with Becky's character,
The
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
no, totally,
in
and
per, in particular.
that's super true. That
That's what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
he's like protecting her, and I feel like there's a that's kind of where the psychological stuff comes in,
Oh, okay,
like
fair.
as we
Fair,
continue.
fair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll give it that. Yeah.
So he's in the diner. He finishes his meal. It's really weird to see young Michael Rooker because he's not that different from old Michael Rooker. Just a little
It's so
smoother.
true. It's so true.
And then we get some more images of corpses, and it's funny
Uh,
because
isn't
some
it particular her corpse?
uh
The waiter?
no
Oh, it's not.
yeah it
Oh.
shows like people in a liquor store and then several women, and we see like in a hotel room like a woman with her bra like halfway off,
Hmm,
like
hmm.
handcuffed or not
That was
handcuffed,
a
like
that was a
taped.
crazy composed shot too. I thought it was actually a really
Yeah,
good
when it's
shot.
just
Yeah.
like moving across this crime scene of a bunch of dead, probably sex workers, like in
Yeah.
a motel
Yeah.
room, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And some of these synopses that I've seen said that like he did these murders after the diner, and I didn't really get that vibe. I just got it as like
This
we're
is all
just
just a highlight reel of his life.
yeah, we're just showing you how many murders this guy did, which is funny
Mhm.
because we get, you know, evidence of like 50 of them, but we really only see like five.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In that sense too, I can like it. And then in one portion of my notes I even took, I put that this very much goes man bites dog. It goes
Mm.
man bites dog so like towards the end especially. But yeah, with the camcorder thing, that was where I was like, oh yeah, it's just man bites dog.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Once we get to that point, that's probably where the guy whose name I can't think of off the top of my head, and I think it was like very hard for us to even pronounce, but the geniuses who made Man Bites Dog.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Remy Laveau or something like that. I forgot. Yeah,
yeah,
the three of them, the trio of them. Yeah.
maybe that's like where they got the idea. They were just getting high and watching this movie, and they were like, "Oh, dude, you know it would be fucking sick."
This was before. You're totally right. Yeah, it very well, very much could. Now that you mentioned that, very much could have been an inspiration for that movie. At 100%, 100%.
It's yeah. Yeah, I could see how you would think see that and then think that, but as we were talking about earlier, man, you know, sometimes Olympus is down, sometimes the White House is fallen.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah. That's so funny.
So then we cut to Otis, this absolute goblin of a man. The teeth that
Yeah,
they gave this guy.
yeah. Fuck this guy, dude.
The teeth are insane.
Fuck this guy, dude.
Yeah,
This is,
absolute
yeah.
caveman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's disgusting. It, like, and that's the thing too. When you look at the real photos of these motherfuckers or like real videos of them, Jesus Christ, these guys are fucking like magazine fucking spread magazine centerfolds compared to these motherfuckers. Like
Yeah, which is
it's
funny.
crazy, dude.
Which is funny because Otis in the movie, like he's pretty damn ugly. But then
That's
you
right.
look at you look
And
at
then
the
you look at
real
the real one, you're just
Otis.
like, oh shit, it gets
The
worse.
real Otis looks like Sid the Sloth.
Yeah, that's damn it, that's I was looking for it all day. I was like, what is he?
I just imagine you staring at the picture I have fucking pulled up right now and just
Like, yeah,
who
what the
who do you
fuck
remind
does he?
me of?
That was incredible.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm glad I could scratch that
it
itch
was
on your
so
brain for you.
good. I was like, who the fuck does he remind me
This is how you
of?
remind me of an animated sloth.
That's so good.
So
Uh,
Otis picks his sister up from the airport, and as they're driving, it's funny. At this point, I was like, "Oh man, I guess I just don't remember that all the acting in this movie is dog shit." But they're faking
yeah.
you out. They're faking you out with this scene.
Yeah.
Because he just picks her up and he's like, "Oh, what's going on with your husband?" And she's like, "I don't want to talk about him. He's such a piece of shit. That's why I'm abandoning my child with him and coming here to stay
Okay, so
with
she
you."
did leave the kid with
Yeah.
him, right? I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's not
God.
with her mom or something. I thought it was.
No, she just
That's
left the kid
fucking
at home.
crazy, dude. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and I think she mentions that he was beating her or
Hmm.
something,
Hmm.
and then she's like, "I don't want to talk about him," and he's like, "Okay, we don't have to talk about him." They start talking about something else. Then he asks about him again, and she's like, "I don't want to talk about him." And then he goes,
He's
"Okay, we,
being like cheeky with her. He's being a fucking
yeah."
piece of shit.
He's like, "Okay, we don't have to. Hey, are you hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry. Okay, me too. Hey, do you think he's hungry?"
So fucking stupid.
Like
Fuck this. Again, fuck this guy.
such an asshole for no reason. And he brings her home to his apartment that he shares with Henry. And as they're getting comfortable, getting her acclimated, Henry comes home and she meets him. Or we also before he comes home, we see him stalking this woman like from like a grocery store
Oh,
parking
I
lot.
forgot about
He
that. Yeah,
he
yeah.
follows her home and he drives by her house like noting where she lives and everything. And then he comes home
Mm. Yeah,
and
because you don't ever see him like so they never like when we're introduced to Henry at this point, he's already a killer. He's
yes.
already like been a killer. And so like this is gonna be kind of this is Otis, however the fuck you pronounce his name. This is
Yeah.
him. Yeah, he's got two T's in it. That's why I was
I
like, what the
think they
fuck?
just changed it to Otis for the movie because I do see that it's Otis written
Otis
down. So
everywhere else. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think in a time without
But
much
people like
media,
pronounce it differently too. It's very yeah.
I think they just read it as Otis, so they just
It's
put it in
fair.
the movie as
That's fair.
Otis.
But yeah,
But
you this is his like kind of flirting with the idea of maybe I can do this. Maybe I am violent, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's not I mean none of his claims I think were ever concretely like identified as being true. So
mm,
yeah, you can't take him at any face value shit too. Because I don't doubt that they were violent together. I don't doubt that. But maybe the amount of like actual murders that they've committed, quote
mm,
unquote, I don't think that is anywhere near as like they literally think that Henry probably only killed like maybe three people at most. One of them being his
yeah.
mother, which he was actually sent to prison for and did time for.
I see that the most generous people, it's between 2 to 40, like on the high end.
That's
If he
crazy. Yeah,
of
yeah.
the 600,
Mm-hmm.
there's like 40 where it's like, okay, possibly,
Maybe, yeah,
possibly. If
But
we're
I,
really
yeah,
squinting and looking at the fucking fingerprints,
yeah. But
like,
I mean, it's just like even in like interviews you see with him and stuff, you could just kind of really see how good he is at like finding what people want to hear in the room and giving it to them. You know what I mean? You can kind of see him working like that. Like he is not a bright individual to say the fucking least, but he is well enough equipped to understand how people work, like in terms of like communicating with them and
mhm,
like making people happy is one thing that he like he's a people pleaser, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so that's kind of like what you see in the interviews come out as he's talking to people. So he's not intelligent, but he's like he's not even emotionally intelligent.
It makes
But
me wonder when we get to his backstory. I'm interested to see what you say about how accurate it is, because if it is, then that makes me have like a theory towards why he is that way as a like a
he
people
did
pleaser.
have a very fucked up upbringing. That's the thing. His all the stuff about his mom is very real. That is all.
Okay,
Yeah, all of that is
then
real.
that
That is,
explains why he would have a pattern of like, hey, whatever you want to fucking hear, bro.
yep, exactly.
Whatever's gonna
Yep,
make you happy. I'll say
exactly.
whatever makes
Yeah,
you
it's like a
happy.
self-preservation thing at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
God.
100%.
So he comes home. He changes really quick. It's very obvious that Becky's like immediately infatuated with him.
Oh yeah,
And she's just like, so tell
poor
me
thing.
about him. Tell me about him. What's the deal with him? And
Yeah.
Otis is like, yeah. Or she says, where'd you meet him? And I should have written it down, but he says like Vandalia or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the prison, like
Yeah.
which they only you which I only knew because they give context clues after that. But I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, but if you live in Chicago, I'm sure you're like, oh fuck,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's the
Like
bad place.
yeah, yeah.
You know, like around here it'd be
It's like the
San Quentin.
Rikers. Yeah, San
Yeah,
Quentin. Yeah, yeah, for sure, exactly.
yeah. Um, for LA, it'd be the one on the side of the highway somewhere on the five. I don't know what it's
Yeah,
called, but I drive
exactly.
by it and I see the signs that say "Don't pick nobody up."
Exactly.
Um, so she says, "Oh, what was he in for? Did he kill his mama?" And he
Hmm.
goes. Well, first she says you don't want to know. Then she goes, "Did he kill his mama?" And she goes, "Yeah, he did." And she's like, "Ha ha! Did he rob a bank or something?"
Hmm.
No,
No,
you were
you were
right the
right the
first time.
first time.
And she's like, "You're messing with me." No, he's like, "No, he did, and don't fucking tell him I told you."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she's like, "No, you're messing with me." He goes, "Yeah, sure, I'm messing with you, but do not ever tell him that I told you."
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And
he specifically says he killed her with a baseball bat.
yeah,
He says that Henry told him
yeah,
that
that
that's
Henry
how
beat her and some
beat her
guy
with
to
a yeah.
death.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot about the other guy being there. But yeah, yeah, yeah. So I really like this because this is a really good example of the real life case of like how they
He's a
were in
liar.
yeah, they were but they were aggrandizing the like the stories themselves or like kind of did things because you're gonna see there's not the story don't add up even as
Yeah.
she's about to kind of point out. But it's neat how they incorporated that from like the real case. You know what I mean? So I thought that was a cool inclusion, in regardless of the story or whatever. But that was a really cool, neat little thing to add.
Yeah. And so while they're talking about him, he goes to work. He mentioned that he has a job spraying some houses, and it turns out he's a exterminator. He's
Yeah,
spraying for bugs. So he's in this house spraying around.
this was crazy with his boss.
I know, right? If only he fucking knew.
That was fucking crazy.
He comes outside. He has his big tank on him, and his boss pays him and says, "Hey, you know, sorry, things are just slow right now. When I have more work, I'll definitely call you. You know, you do a good job. You listen, blah blah blah." And as he's walking away, Henry's like, "Hey, don't you want your tank thing?" And he's like, "No, no, just keep it. I'll
Just
call you."
hang on to it. What the fuck?
And he's like, "Okay, cool. Anyway, I got a lady to go kill." And
Yeah,
he
exactly.
drives to that woman's house. And
Jesus
I wish we could hear what he says at the door because I'm interested to know like how you would write that to be like believable. I was like trying to think of like what you would say, like, "Oh
What?
yeah,
How
you
he
know,
got inside?
someone else paid
Yeah,
for this, and you know, it'd be a
yeah,
shame if I couldn't
exactly.
do it." And she's like, "Oh, come in and spray my house."
Yeah, for sure.
And then we just cut to her body wrapped up in wires and choked to death.
Yeah,
And she's got all these like lesions and like it looks like burn marks all over her body.
yeah, yeah,
And I think what it is he was just holding the spray on her skin and just like spraying it
yeah.
hella
Hmm.
hard.
Hmm.
And so it
Hmm.
was like melting her skin.
Yeah, and like and I will say I thought it was a really interesting and effective tool to actually be using off-screen kills.
Hmm.
Like when they show like just the aftermath and like the bodies afterwards. I thought that was interesting because it does make the violence toward the end jarring even more. Because you haven't really seen the violence happen on screen up until later on when it's going to happen, but like you just see
Hmm.
the bodies, you just see the shit just pop up, and you're just like, oh, that's fucked up. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You kind of just take it at face value. You're just like, okay, and
Yeah.
then later on, you're just like, oh, that's right, they are fucking monsters.
Yeah, because like I said, like it like after this, it almost like there's a couple points where it hits like almost some normalcy, and then when they're
It
like,
does.
"We're gonna go get a
It
beer,"
lulls you. Yeah, it
you're like,
lulls
"Oh,
you
so
into normalcy.
we're gonna do a scene in the bar." Then it's like, "Oh no, of course they're going to kill people."
Yeah, that's it. You forgot. That's the movie I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm like, man, it's gonna be
Yeah,
really interesting to see the conversation about this thing. Oh no, of course not. Um,
yeah, 100%.
and so they have a fish dinner because she had been gutting the fish while talking to Otis about Henry and everything.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's like kind of awkward. Like she knows about him now and everything.
Mhm.
And then Otis goes to leave for work and he works at a gas station and some like young guy shows up and says, "Hey, do you have that still?" And he's like, "Maybe." Well, yeah or no? Yeah, of course. And he's like, "Okay, well, here's the money." And he's like, "Cool. I don't have it on me. I'll come around the field later." And he's like, "No, I don't want you like coming over there. Um, Meet me in the parking lot." And
Right.
he's like, "Okay, I'll meet you in the parking lot tomorrow." And he flashes
Fucking
his tongue at him.
light pedophilia. You're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah. A phobophilia
Terrible.
is what certain 22-year-old white guys would have us believe. Um,
Oh God,
that's a
yeah.
shot at a guy named Johnny who was banging the girl I liked when I was 16. You fucking creep.
Fuck you, Johnny.
You piece of shit. Uh he's probably still out there on his sweet Lou bullshit, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
There's a lot of
grind
these
reference.
light of these a lot of these fucking motherfuckers like this out there.
Truly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so he takes the kid's money and the kid disappears. And then we have uh Henry and Becky playing cards, and I have no fucking idea like what game they're playing or what they're doing. I was actually like a little mystified because they just keep like putting down and taking cards at random, and sometimes like the person who puts down the card takes the card, and sometimes the person who doesn't put down the card, I couldn't
I
understand.
did not even
I
fucking
was
factor that in.
I don't even know why I was paying so much attention, but I was just like, are they? But I think they just neither of them were paying attention, and
Yeah,
the direction
exactly.
was like, just be doing stuff with the cards while you're doing your
Look
lines.
busy. Look
It's
busy.
go back and watch that scene again now, and you're also gonna be like, what
Like,
is
what
this
the fuck?
game? Like he puts down an 8, she puts down a 4, she takes both, and then she puts down a 9. What fucking game is this? I don't
It's
understand what's
52 pickup, just slower.
basically, dude. Like I just don't understand. But anyway, they bond over fucked
Man,
up.
they trauma bond. Be specific, because that
Oh,
shit just flows out of her mouth. I was like, yo, the fuck?
the whole time I'm just sitting there like, shut up,
Yeah,
shut up. This
inside
is
thoughts, lady.
this is not the guy to talk to about
Yes,
any
straight.
of this.
Oh, yeah, it was. I was like,
Holy
Jesus
shit. You could
Christ.
not be more misguided than what's
Yeah,
happening
yeah,
here.
yeah. Which I think, okay, they're kind of, I think then maybe that's playing on the real life Becky one, like being that she would have been like so naive to fall for
Yeah.
his bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, I could see where that also works in the meta narrative of the whole thing, which, by the way, I should probably point it out. This was the one apparently murder that he had never gotten over. This was one that apparently haunted him for years and years of his life. In the
Mm.
documentary, they fucking spoilers for the shit. They fucking find her and they're like, yeah, she's alive as fuck. Like, he was totally lying about that.
Oh my
She
God.
even comes out. She was like, yeah, I was pretty like crazed out, or like I was pretty tripped out that to find out that I was dead. I was like, what the fuck?
That's so fucking
That's what I'm
funny.
saying, dude.
That's
Fuck these guys,
crazy.
dude. Fuck these guys. That's
That's
what I mean.
crazy. What the fuck?
It's interesting, dude. Watch that documentary. It's a very interesting
I'm
true
gonna have
crime
to
dog.
watch it after this.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
So she just point blank, she's like, "So did you really kill your mama?" And you can see that he's just like, oh, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
kill her. Oh, she got oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Otis gotta die too. Oh, you can just see like
Exactly, exactly. And then the mental knights in his fucking brain are like, hold, hold. Wait.
basically he's
Yeah.
like,
He's like,
damn
wait a
you.
minute.
And that's just a credit to Rooker. You could just see like so much is like
He's a
really trying to
powerhouse
hold.
in this.
He's like trying to hold it together
Yeah.
and like basically on the verge of a break like mental breakdown
Yeah.
because she's
Yeah.
asking him
Literally
and then
because she's asking him questions.
he's like, "Oh, but this is what she wants to hear and I maybe
Hmm.
I can use this to have power over her and
Hmm.
stuff." And so he tells her that his mom was always really abusive to him and
Yes.
he calls her a whore and
Hmm.
then he says, "But I don't begrudge her for what she was. It's not what she did, it's how she did it. She
Yeah.
didn't care that my dad was always there and she would bring these men to the house and she would make me watch."
Yeah.
She
Which
would
is that's true. That's a real ass case or real ass fact about that. Just disgusting.
he said that she would beat him if he didn't watch, and that sometimes she would make him wear a dress while he watched, and
Hmm.
then her Johns would laugh at him after they finished.
Yeah, it was like if he actually did go on to commit everything, literally this is how you make a serial killer. That's literally like
Yeah,
by
custom
the book,
built.
this is how you build a serial killer. Like
There's a SNL skit with The Rock about like evil scientists at like a convention of who has the most evil invention. Have you seen that one?
no. That
And The
sounds
Rock
great. That's a
comes
great
up
premise.
The Rock comes up and he's like, "So I've built a child molesting robot." And they're all just like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, Jesus Christ." And he's like, "I don't get it. This is like who could do the most evil thing." Like
It's like
I
what the
thought
fuck? Yeah.
I thought that was the contest. And they're like, "So how did you even make like a child molested robot?" And he's like, "Well, you build a robot and then you molest it and then you hope that it continues the
It's
cycle of
fucking
violence."
terrible.
And that's
So
pretty much
fucking
what she did to him.
yeah, literally. Yeah, literally. This is yeah. That's fucking terrible, man.
I hate The Rock
But
as a human being, but that's like a top tier
that's a
SNL
funny.
skit.
Yeah,
He's like, I just truly, I don't understand what I've done wrong here.
that's funny
He's
as
like, so I
fuck.
win, right? Like,
So yeah, but okay. I will say that about that too. That I like right here that he changes the story. He changes it right
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Another
He
detail.
he tells her he came home and she was with a man, and it was like his 14th birthday,
Hmm.
and she had like beat him especially bad that day or something weird like that. Like it was special, but not,
Yeah,
and
anti-special.
yeah. Well, just the like, it's normally like a big explosion of the trauma that makes a bad thing happen, but he was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like
It's
the
just a slow
mundane,
rollout.
yeah, the mundanity and the like consistency of it just made
Hmm.
him like snap eventually.
Yeah.
And he said, so then I came up there and first he said that he stabbed her. He
Yep.
says to begin with when she's like, "Did you really kill your mom?" He's like, "Yeah, I stabbed her." And then he goes into the backstory. And then when he's like, so then I came home that day and I took my gun and I shot them both right there. I shot them to death.
No, well, what she said, well, because she catches him. She's like, "Wait,
Yeah.
didn't you just say you stabbed her?" And then
Yeah,
he's
cause
like, "Oh yeah, 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 like two, that too."
yeah, cause the story Otis heard was a bat, and then she
Hmm.
says a
Hmm.
bat, and then he goes, "It wasn't a bat. I stabbed her." And then she's like, "Well, why did you do that?" And then he gives the whole
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
story,
yeah, yeah.
so it gives him enough time to
That's
get
right. So like,
lost.
yeah, to get lost. Yeah, for sure.
And then he's like, "I shot her," and she's like, "Well, didn't you say you stabbed him?" And he's like, "I guess I did. I guess I did then."
Yeah, it's so weird. It's just like, oh yeah, 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 for sure.
And then
It's
she's
just like,
like,
what,
she's like, "Hey, so check this out. One day my dad came in my room and said, 'I
dude?
own
Yeah,
those
what the
titties.'"
fuck, dude? I was just like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, check this out. Literally, like, yeah, like I got one for you.
She's like, "So my daddy came in and said, I own
uh,
I own those titties. I own every inch of you. You came from me.
Fucking
So guess
disgusting,
what?
man.
the bad times are rolling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she said eventually it was easier to not struggle than to get beat on,
Hmm.
and that she just gave up. And the reason she married the terrible guy that she's with was
Was to
simply,
escape
yeah.
the father. Yeah, which is like, ugh.
So this to me is where the psychological aspect comes in, is it seems to be the implication or like the reading that they got or how they chose to spin the story at least
Yeah.
is like Henry and Otis both come from these incestuous families and this like horrifying past, and Henry leans away from it and Otis leans into
Leans
it.
into it. Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
that's an interesting catch that I didn't really consider, but you're
that's
totally right. Yeah.
and that's why we call it the Skim the Scum podcast. So everybody hashtag STS.
So
We're gonna
stupid.
keep skimming.
Skimming the scum is disgusting.
It is. It really is. But yeah, it's God, it's such a
Yeah.
fucked up back and forth trauma dump.
Yeah, literally, yeah. It's just like
And then she grabs his hand, and I sensed that he was just like, get away from me. But the
mm-mm.
way it works is Otis walks in, so she lets go of him and moves away to like not let Otis know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And
then he
he
kind of just like, all right, well, that was thanks for helping.
Yeah, he just
Thanks for
comes
getting
in
her
and
off me.
goes, anything good on TV?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like completely fucking unaware.
Yeah, he's like, I hate that he's like trying to be the comic relief throughout the whole movie. Or the first half of the movie, he's just like jokey
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
worst ways. Fucking
It, in incredibly uncomfortable ways.
yeah.
He's like the Chainsaw Charlie mask, but as an actual human being. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, shout out.
Yeah,
I wonder
yeah,
how Neil
exactly.
is in fucking Trump's America. I hope he's doing okay.
We love you, Neil.
Yeah, seriously.
Go listen to our interviews and our slashers episode.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, Neil Napier, we love you.
My two favorite Neils, Neil Napier and Neil Fallon, and I'm not telling you which one's which.
But yes, I do. Yes, he is Chainsaw Charlie the mask in a
As a
person.
person,
Yeah,
yeah.
in a person.
So Becky goes out. She had mentioned like that she could get a job doing, a bunch of different things. And so she goes out. We get like a girl on the town like montage in the middle of this movie, which is where you're
Mhm.
like you could almost forget for a second what you're watching.
That's
And
what I
she
mean. Yeah.
and she comes back and she's like, "I got a job. I'm a shampoo girl. When they're getting their haircut, they get
Mhm.
shampoos, and I'm the one who does it." It's like, fuck, I could have figured it out. Stop writing dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You
Uh,
hit your streak. You hit your stride. I get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You hit your like 120 word limit.
Right. And so they decide to celebrate with another dinner. So she cooks for them again. It's funny how often she like
She's
cooks for these
always cooking for
guys.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I'm just realizing the thing with the kids' weed like never like still hasn't come back around. It's really like 3 or 4 days later when he gets it. He told him it'd be tomorrow, but isn't that just buying weed when you're in fucking high school?
I know. Yeah. Straight up. I know. Yeah. It has a couple of days I go by.
Oh,
I know. I'd be like, what the fuck? I
I'll
just got
pay
ripped off.
I'll pay the 28% tax just to not have to sit in a parking lot waiting for white mark.
Why am I fucking stupid?
That's the
It
real
is Honda Civic.
yes. So you do know white mark. He lives on
Buddy.
K Street.
Exactly. God damn it.
The funny thing is, I'm giving real names and locations.
Oh,
One
it's
day I'll tell you
fucking
about D
amazing.
Flava.
D-
Uh, again, I wish look
God
how
damn.
quick I came up with that. That's obviously a
Yeah,
real man.
exactly.
It's
Yeah,
obviously a
that's
real
too
man.
quick.
He was an amoebophile. Uh,
fucking amazing.
Like two of my friends are gonna hear this and die
Oh,
laughing.
god
Uh,
damn it, dude. That's so good.
so speaking of files, they're celebrating and as they're talking she gets up. I can't remember what the conversation is exactly, but she gets up and they're talking and he keeps
Yeah.
calling her honey and like he like acts like she's his wife. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
it
It's
is
very.
really weird.
Yeah, it's about to get weirder.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
and and he's like, come on honey, just get me a beer, like, oh
He's
I
like, get your poor brother a beer. I
Yeah, he
was
gives
like,
some weird limp dick reason why she should get
mhm,
it for him instead of him
mhm.
getting it himself. And then she like sets the beer down, and so she leans in a little bit when she does that, and he grabs her and tries to kiss her, and
I think he
Henry,
does. I
I
literally think he grabs her because it's a quick ass motion.
it's
He
pretty
grabs
quick.
her and like pulls her towards him. So I think her face like just like jerks into his.
It's pretty quick. He
Yeah.
probably does, but
But it
just
was a blink and you'll miss it type thing. Like literally it just happened, then Henry's on him. I was like,
yeah,
oh shit.
yeah. And obviously the actors know, but it's almost like Henry knew ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
like how
Mm-hmm.
quickly he grips him up by
He
his
was
fucking
yeah,
scruff.
yeah, he was eyeballing him the entire time for sure.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
grabbed him, and it's so funny. You'll hear him do this a bunch of the movie, but he's just like, "Oh, this no!"
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Bad boy, down boy.
like he's a fucking dog, and he's like,
Exactly.
"Otis, that's your sister. That's bad.
Yeah,
Don't do that."
exactly. Yeah,
And
we don't hump the sister.
he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Oh, like my bad." And he lets go of him, and Henry's so
He's like
clearly the
so.
alpha.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He goes beta mode real quick.
And then she's like, "Oh yeah, Henry's my hero. Like we're totally gonna bang." And he's like, "Oh fuck, that's not." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, that's not. We're not there yet. Either get away from me.
He like reacts like how men do to D on
Oh
all,
no, Sonny.
you know, not when they're like, "Oh, can I get D'd again?" But how they normally act.
That's so fucking funny. Yeah, it's so right. But then she like tells him like, "Hey, chill out, go get a beer." Like that's all good. Like I was like, "What the fuck?"
De-escalation, dude.
I guess so, but that's
Ag-
trauma mostly.
Yeah, again, if you think about like the mindset of all three of them, they're all just so fucked up. But
Mm-hmm.
all Henry knows is please people, and like in real life is please people so
Mm-hmm.
I can get out of the situation. And in this, it's that and explode with the rage that I have from all the people pleasing that I do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And for Otis, it's just he has just embraced and become, he's kind of like fucking Toad from the X-Men movies. He's just a grubby little fuck.
I love I love the references you come up with so
I'm
much.
trying, man. I'm trying.
I love it. He is very toad-like in his appearance as well, though.
He's just always got his tongue out and shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
so good.
so she says, "Go get a beer," and Henry goes, "What do you think, Otis?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go get a beer?" Like so intimidatingly.
Mm-hmm.
And Otis is like, well, okay, fine, but I'm gonna go spruce up first. And he comes back in this like shiny blue disco shirt, and it's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
so
It was
weird.
so fucking funny. He looks like the drug dealer he was claiming to be earlier.
Exactly. It's so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That cracked me up. I laughed pretty hard when I saw the shirt.
Yeah, it was. It's good because it's just also so jarring. You're like, wait, what the fuck? What?
Yeah, I didn't
He
expect
pulled a
that.
wardrobe change.
Yeah, I didn't expect that coming out of that man's closet.
Yeah, exactly.
Which put a pin in that for when we talk about the real
Oh
people.
God, yeah, yeah.
Um, so they go out on the town, and I wish I knew what song they were playing. Let me see if I can find like a soundtrack thing, but
Dude, the needle drops are so fucking
they're
funny
they're
sometimes,
pretty they're
though.
pretty good songs,
I was, yeah,
honestly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no. It wasn't about the. It was just the weirdest placement and the fact that it just keeps going. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like they just kind of keep going. You're just like, where is this coming from? Is this supposed to be the radio or where the fuck? You know what I mean? Or
That's
is it?
true.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like, what? What's going on?
That's true. It's just kind of like happening.
Yeah, exactly. What was diegetic? Like diegetic
Yeah,
music?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think yeah.
yeah. Non-diegetic, I think it was.
Non,
Yeah, non.
very non.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not Guardians.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, yeah, absolutely. James Gunn is not directing this.
I like forgot for a second that he's in both as I said it, so
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at
exactly.
this.
That's so good.
Um, so they go out on the
Oh
town.
man.
They're listening to some disco, and they decide they're gonna pick up these two ladies of the night. And as soon as they get in the car, as soon as the door
They they
closes,
GTA 3 them.
yes, 100%. 100%. You have sex with the hooker, and then you kill him, and you get your money back. That's exactly what they fucking
That's
do.
GTA 3, bro.
It's funny because
God
at
damn.
first, like, you don't know yet what exactly their relationship is and like where they are in all of this. Like, obviously,
Hmm.
Otis knows Henry's a killer and they've done time together. So, like, what was Otis in for, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it seems like it's probably a lesser crime because
Yeah,
Henry's in the
yeah,
back seat with one of them, and as we get this like trucking shot
yeah,
across the car, he's in the back seat and the woman he's with is like, "No, no, I told you no." And then he snaps her neck,
yeah.
and then the other girl starts screaming, and
And he like
Otis,
reaches over.
yeah, Otis like grabs her and covers her mouth to stop her from screaming, like unaware of what Henry's doing. But I figured
Hmm.
he knew. I figured this was the
This
plan.
is the plan, yeah.
But you see when Henry reaches from the back seat to the front and he just like pushes her chin, like her neck, and
Yeah,
breaks her
yeah,
neck and kills her. And Otis's eyes just explode. They just
yeah,
get so huge.
yeah.
Like he's just like, "What the fuck?"
Hmm.
And Henry just dumps both the bodies in the bushes right nearby. And he tells Otis, "Move over, I'm gonna drive." And as they start driving, they have this amazing exchange where Otis goes, "Oh fuck, what's going to happen when they find those bodies?" Nothing.
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 Hmm.
Just what I said. Nothing. Nothing's going to happen cuz nothing happened, and I don't know nothing about whatever it is. Do
Hmm.
you? Hey, I don't know nothing. Oh fuck. Like the
Yeah,
way like he even
yeah.
tells him like, "Yeah, yeah, I don't know anything," but then he can't help but whimper
Hmm.
afterwards.
Hmm. Yeah, which I thought was a really good, again, for Henry the character. That is a great line of dialogue, and so is the next one that he's gonna talk to him on the bed when he's like when he's laying out the whole
But I
thing.
will say you're right. It does make it seem like he's more like erudite and
That's what I'm
intelligent
saying.
when
It's
really he's just some knuckle dragging dickhead.
and it very much gives him like almost like a mission statement. Like he's kind of giving his
Yeah.
mission statement what the next what like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like I don't yeah, it's too good. It's too perfect of a serial killer, like tale. That's
Hmm.
why I was just like, yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty
I'll
aggrandizing,
I'll give you that. I now understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cause yeah, I get you now. That makes a lot
Hmm.
of sense. Yeah, so then they're like hanging out at home, and so obviously Otis is like really shook by this because they're like still talking about it. And
This is after they're eating in the car.
oh yeah, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
they
wild. I forgot they go and like get
they're
burgers
different.
afterwards.
Are they eating burgers and coffee? Because
I
it looks like
think
they're having
so.
coffee and burgers and fries. I was like, that is
You know what
fucking
always
vile.
you know what always cracks me up too, and he does it in this scene. In movies, they'll like take a big bite of food and then
uh,
take a sip of their drink and
yep,
like swallow it past the food and then continue chewing the food.
chewy, yep,
I'm just like, who are you? You fucking
yep.
alien. What the fuck?
Well, sometimes it's too dry. You need a little moisture in
And that's
there.
okay, but then usually you swallow everything in one bite. You don't like,
Yeah.
oh, let me keep my yeah, gross.
I was just like, yo, coffee, and then he reaches for the fries. I was like, go fuck yourself. That's disgusting.
That's so weird.
That was the thing that turned me off the most for the
Somewhere the
that tells you how
nation's hamburger CEO is sharpening a knife for you. He's like, that's our whole thing. You can
yeah,
get both.
exactly. Yeah. It was just like I don't know, that just speaks directly to the desensitization that we've had on this show That
Mhm.
was the most upsetting thing in this movie for me.
Wow, yeah, that's check yourself in.
Exactly.
Where's the place where Simple Plan made a music video? Go stalk the
That's
halls.
why did you reference Simple?
Did they make one? I just had to think of a band.
I just love that you just referenced Simple Plan on this episode in particular. Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, but yeah, fuck these guys. In short, fuck these guys.
Fuck these guys.
Oh,
So they have another exchange where he says, "You've killed before, haven't you?" And Otis says, "Well, yeah, but I had no choice." And this is pretty chilling. Henry looks at him and says, "You didn't have no choice here neither,"
mm-hmm.
which was just like,
That gives you his entire mission
"S-
statement right there.
step up again,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
say
yeah,
something
yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah. Exactly.
you know? And
Yep.
he does like Otis is like a beaten dog for like the next 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then he becomes fucking a little more vicious at the end, but yeah.
Yeah. He said, it's always the same and it's always different. It's either you or them, one way or the other, isn't it? So it does try kind of give this like philosophical, relativistic,
That's what
like
I'm saying.
if you know, if wolf eats a sheep, isn't that just the natural order?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. This is his crusade statement. Like, you know what I mean? This is like, yeah, this is
yeah,
why we do what we do. And it's like, all right, all right.
yeah. And then Otis is watching TV shortly after. It's funny because their whole house is PBR themed.
God damn it. That
Did you
was,
know? Did you notice that?
no, that just caught me so off guard.
There's,
That was
bro, there's literally a PBR branded clock hanging
oh
above
my
their
God. I
TV,
didn't notice
and
that.
they're drinking
That's
PBR the whole movie,
PBRC.
which I just know as like hipster swill,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you know? So it's just
That
hella
clock
fun.
costs $40 in a Goodwill somewhere.
That clock was 300 camel points. Be
That's
for real.
good. That's
Yeah, you got your Bitcoin now. We used to have camel points, camel cash.
oh fuck, I'm fucking crying, dude. That's fucking amazing. Camel points.
Hey, I'm pretty proud
Uh,
of the tenuous link between camel cash and Bitcoin.
yeah, exactly. Same
I I
same
had
customer,
I
same
had
same
I had
demographic.
fucking Pepsi dollars and everything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. The Mountain
Fucking
Dew
A.
double XP fucking
Double XP weekend.
Yep. Goddamn right.
Jesus Christ. Um, so Otis is watching the TV and he's
Oh,
trying to adjust the rabbit ears. Another fucking like, thank God we kids these days, they have no
oh
idea.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, 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 absolutely.
And see, we shouldn't have any idea, but we grew up poor.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we do.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do, bitch. I've had a TV with fucking four channels on it. Fight
Yep.
me.
Absolutely.
I got a lot of rage built up. Fucking 2, 3, and 13. I'm like, why? Why are those the channels?
Exactly. Was it three? Was how you even played your video games
Yes,
before? Yeah,
yeah. You know what would be
exactly.
really fucked up is when you had a thing that said like change it to channel 4 and you're like, I don't have a channel 4.
Like motherfucker, there's no button for
What
that.
am I supposed to do? Oh boy. I'm glad we can
Fuck,
relate on that.
dude. Fuck yeah. This episode is something else entirely, bro.
It sure is.
This is so funny, man.
So Otis kicks the
Uh,
shit out of the TV like a baby.
dude, and then that shit explodes, which is
Hmm.
like, yeah, they kind of just did that back
They
then.
did.
It's
Sometimes
like,
without kicking them.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I kind of wanted to call bullshit, but I was like, nah, all that fucking tubing and all that fucking, all those, that shit, the
Yeah.
dust running through that bitch. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Ooh, that's a good point. All that
Hmm.
dust igniting as soon as the
Yep.
tube opens.
That's what I'm
Ooh.
saying. So,
That's science, bitch.
yeah.
Um, so
Oh,
he
man.
I believe Otis takes Henry to this fence, to this guy who just has a warehouse full of TVs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This, yeah, he's, no, Henry is taking him.
Oh, Henry knows the guy.
Henry is the one. Yeah, he's like, well, tell him what you want. Tell him, yeah, tell
Mm,
him this.
okay. So So they go in and they tell the guy they have $50. What can we get? And he's like, yeah, that little black and white TV over there. And they're like, well, what can $150 get us? And he's like, well, you can have this one and it's $300, but you give me another 75 and I'll give you this one that's worth $600.
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, there's this camera over here. What's this? He's like, oh, it's a camcorder.
Yeah.
It's a camera and a video recorder. And I'm just like,
He's like,
redundant.
he's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, can you make your own movies with that? He's like, what the fuck else would you do with it?
He is so rude to them, and it's
I know
always
he's
it's
such a
always
piece of
funny.
shit.
We were talking about falling down earlier.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of the gas station or the convenience store
The store
scene.
clerk, yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
just this. Um,
But I will say also in that sense, I don't know how much like the movie has that way of playing on the narrative being like, oh well, they did kind of deserve it.
you know what?
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
that's true too. That's
I'm
true
kind of
too.
yeah, I'm kind of catching on to that even as we're talking about it in real time. But like, yeah, that's why I also was like, that's a weird way to portray that,
And
you know?
honestly, at the time, the public opinion of like sex workers and stuff, like
Very much,
they didn't
very
even need to get like
yeah. You didn't need any justification for that.
they're
Absolutely, they
just
didn't
like
even fucking investigate the deaths when they happened. Yeah, obviously the people didn't
yeah.
give a shit. Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, hookers should be strangled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's fucking terrible.
And
Yeah.
I'm over here like, but not to death.
And
You,
consensually.
you like how I did that there? Thank you for throwing that in and saving me. Um,
Oh man.
just a
Yeah.
little bit.
Man, we're never getting monetized for this show.
It's never happening. Um, so he's giving them shit, and they're like, okay, well, we'll take the $50 one, and he's like, well, fuck you guys, you're so fucking stupid, over
He's
here
like, you
wasting
made
my
me, yeah,
time.
you made me waste my time. You made me go through all that.
Yeah, and Henry's like, "Hey man, like chill out. We just want to get a color TV." And he's like, "Just give me the $50 and take that and get the fuck out." And he's like, "No, I'm not giving you anything." And he's like, "No, bitch, you wasted my time. You're buying that
Give me that
TV."
$50.
And then Henry goes, "Well, you ever been stabbed with a soldering iron?" He doesn't say it, he just does it. And Otis is like too excited after being like, "I don't know about killing." He's
Yeah,
like
yeah, he
too
just hops
excited.
in. Yeah, yeah.
Starts choking him with an
Not on the
electrical
fence
cord.
anymore.
Oh, but in a manner of speaking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, you see what I did there?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so they stab him, they choke him, and then
Hmm.
Henry smashes a TV on his head, screen down.
God, he yells, Otis, plug it in.
Yep, and Otis is
That's
like so excited as
see,
he does.
that's what I'm saying. That's the exploitation part of this movie. Like this kill is specifically out of an exploitation movie. Like it's just like,
That's
okay, how graphic can we make it? And then let's go over the top with the comedy, you know?
that's true.
Hmm.
And then it cracks me up because it literally cuts to footage of home movies
Ugh.
of the boys and Becky on a color TV.
Yeah, and like, okay, immediately before anything starts happening, I already was like, uh,
Yeah.
I don't like the camera shift. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like being in this point of view.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Yeah. Before
And
anything, it's just harmless fucking dancing and shit. I was like,
oh,
this won't
I
sit
feel like
right.
that scene also informs so much of Otis's mind state
Yes, yeah,
because
you're completely right. Yep,
Otis is like so infatuated with like the camera
getting cucked.
yeah, and Becky's like dancing around and having fun, and then she's like, "Oh, why doesn't Henry dance with me?" Because I think Henry's filming at first, and then Otis
Hmm.
takes the camera from him, and then she kisses him, and he's so obviously uncomfortable,
Yeah,
and then
but
she
Otis is like cheering it on. He's like, yeah, keep
he's like,
going,
do more, keep
keep
doing
going.
more, do more. Like he's like trying to get them to make a porno.
Disgusting.
It's very uncomfortable. and
Uh,
and then Henry sits on the couch and she sits next to him and he's like scooting away from her. and
Mm-hmm.
she
Yo,
and
yeah,
she
I missed that one, but yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
and she's like going after him, and then Otis, they're like he yells at Otis to stop filming him because Otis just keeps going, "Say hi, Henry. Say
Mm-hmm.
hi, Becky.
Mm-hmm.
Say hi, Henry.
And they're
Say hi,
like, yo,
Becky."
shut the fuck up.
Like they're like, "Yeah, we said hi already." Like he just doesn't have the mental capacity to come up with more to do with it, but he's like enjoying the attention
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them
The
like
act of doing this, yeah.
yeah, and it's just he's just like so sad and dejected. But even that, kind of like you said, it's like trying to make it like, oh, isn't it like
For
kind of
him.
society's fault
For
that he's
yeah.
this way? No, you're right. You're
Yeah.
totally right. I see it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. The
So
more you watch the real like interviews with them, the more you're gonna be like, yeah, fuck these guys,
the
dude.
more you see what sad little bitches they are.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Um,
God,
so
but
then
then this shift right here is just
yeah.
so oh God, I get a chill just thinking about it, but it's fucking it's graphic. This is where we do get graphic.
Yeah. Otis goes to sell the kid the weed that he promised him 8 years ago. And while he's selling it to him, he's it's like that classic. You go to buy weed from the guy, and he's like, "Oh, let's smoke
Yeah, let's
together,"
smoke, yeah.
and then he tries to molest you. We've all
Yeah.
been there.
Fucking Chad.
Like I said earlier, white. But no, I'm not going to put that on White Mark. I'm not going to put
Yeah,
that on White
exactly.
Mark.
Not white mark.
Not
He's
White
better
Mark.
than that, and you know
Now
it.
D Flava, he was damn near 40, dating an 18-year-old girl.
Damn it. I know that that's a real fact and it makes me upset, but I can't help but fucking
This
laugh at
this
the
guy's
names.
this guy's license plate is D Flava. Dava Flava, okay?
God damn it.
This guy lived like diagonal to me, behind me. I don't even know. One day I was just like skating home and he was like, "Hey, you want to buy some weed?" And I was like, "Well,
Like,
sure."
absolutely, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Mr. Flavor.
I got the flavor for the flavor. No.
God damn it, man.
Yeah, real guy. Real guy.
Oh, fuck me, dude. This is the
And
fucking episode, man.
anyway, Henry gets, excuse me,
Uh,
Otis gets punched in the face
yeah,
for
decked.
for grabbing his leg and
Mhm.
coming on to him. And he goes to Henry and he complains and he says, "I want to kill him. Like I want to teach him a lesson so bad." And Henry's like, "No, we can't do that because you're going to get caught. If you kill a teenager, you're obviously going to get caught. Like they've seen you with
They've
him
seen you
before."
together. Yep.
Yeah, like obviously, don't be stupid. But he's like expressing his rage when he says that, and then he says, I want to kill somebody," and he's like, "Hold on, say that again."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, you got that look in your eye, kid.
Yeah. And then I guess this is like a famous place in Chicago. It's called Lower Wacker Drive. It's this like multiple level street.
Interesting.
So like they pull into it
Oh
is
yeah, where they pull into like the side. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
yeah,
was wondering about the like the
it's
whole like setup was
so
weird.
it's so weird to
Yeah.
describe. It's like it's like a tunnel, but then there's also like a ramp going up to a higher level, but then
Hmm.
also if you go to the right, there's like parking or like a pull off area
Yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Like pull off.
It's
Yeah, it's very strange. Very
it
strange.
seems like they just like pulled over inside of a tunnel.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I guess this is like a very known place
That
in
makes sense.
Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
So they go to this area, they pull over, and Henry shows Otis a gun, and he's like, "What's that for?" And he's like, "Well, check this out. Put the hood up." And so they pretend the car's broken down, and some guy shows up and is like, "Hey, you guys want help?"
Just
And
gets
and
mowed down.
Henry tells Otis, "What do you think, Otis? Do you need
Yeah.
help, or can you
Can you
do it
do
on
it
your own?"
yourself?
And he just like lights up when he kills the guy, shoots him
Jesus
several
Christ.
times,
Yeah.
and they
On
just
the
let
it broad as day, well, not daylight, but fucking middle of the goddamn like street. Literally, there are cars passing as it's happening. It's fucking
yeah,
wild.
yeah. And then Henry explains to Otis that you need to be changing up your MO. And Otis is like filming, it looks like two homeless guys beating up another homeless guy.
they're like stabbing him or some shit. Like
It's like
it's
hard to
fucking crazy.
tell.
Yeah, I was like, what are they filming another murder or what the
Yeah,
fuck is going on?
40-year-old movie, and we're seeing it through handheld camera
Yeah,
technology of
yeah,
the
yeah.
time. So it's just like,
Which is pretty. I mean, say what you will, that's pretty interesting. Like I like the way that they played with the formats. You know what
oh,
I mean? Like that. I
definitely.
think that, and especially when we get into the jarring scene that we're about to get into, that like I felt like that reveal of them like sitting on the couch and watching it. I was like, oh, that's a neat way of doing that. You know what I mean? I was like, I didn't like. I was just what artistically that like surprised me like pleasantly.
Hmm.
But what I was
Yeah.
watching, not so much,
Yeah. It
in a
is.
bad way.
It is interesting. It's just not the
Yeah.
highest fidelity. So like I did kind of think for a second, I was like, did they stab that person? I
That's what
just
I'm
wasn't
saying.
totally
Yeah, I was
sure.
very, very confused because yeah, you're right. It's very hard to tell what's going on.
It kind of looks like they just watch another murder like casually happen and they're filming
Yeah,
it and then they
yeah, yeah,
dip.
yeah.
It's very strange.
That's what I mean.
But he's like, "Hey, chop one up, slit one's throat, shoot another one, stab another one like
He
that
tells
way."
him you gotta change your modus operandi. He's like,
Yeah,
that's Latin.
bet you didn't think
Bet
that I
you
knew
didn't think.
Latin, didn't you? And then I forget what he says, but he's
He,
basically like, "Oh, big fucking deal." And he's like, "What was that?" No, nothing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's exactly. He's the eighth grader among the seventh graders.
Exactly. 100%. And
So
so
good.
they're driving around. They're just like having this conversation in multiple venues. And this is the part that I was saying earlier, atmosphere sampled,
Oh, okay.
where he's like, where are you going? Nowhere. I could be there tomorrow. We could be back this way in about a month or so.
That's right. That is atmosphere. No
Yeah, that's
shit.
sampled on one
Okay.
of the Sad Clown
That's a bad dub.
EPs.
Yeah, sad comment. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it has this, there's like this interesting, like, ambient effect to the dialogue that comes through in the song as well. And it's just such a, like, I don't know, just interesting how it
Yeah,
sounds. So
yeah,
if you've heard the song, it immediately you're like, oh shit, that's the thing from the
yeah.
song.
Yeah. The fucking Leonardo DiCaprio, the fucking stabbing on the
Uh,
TV.
oh yeah. So then the boys film a home invasion and we're watching them watch it on TV. Like we're just seeing the TV. So it's
which
not black and
which
white.
is it's neat because the way that they introduced, they've always shown the camcorder plugged into something.
Hmm.
So they've always shown the camcorder plugged into like the TV or something like that. So while you're watching it, you think that they're actually doing it in real time,
Mm.
which was I what I got. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I found was interesting when they like pulled back and showed them on the couch. I was like, "Oh, that's neat how they're
They're
like
watching the game day tapes
yeah,
and
literally
being
they're
like,
watching their highlight reels. Yeah, that's that's literally what it is. It's fucked up, but yeah, I thought that was just an interesting way of playing with the format.
yeah, definitely. It's yeah. It's a cool like effect and storytelling device and how they do it. And I think it does a lot to like really on paper the stuff that happens in this movie isn't like that bad if you're as fucked up and desensitized as us. But
Okay.
just the way it all unfolds is what
Yeah.
makes it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even like when this hits, like when this scene in particular hit, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is the tonal shift." Because up to this point, a lot of the murders were like either quick or they happened off screen or it wasn't like very lingered on or whatever. This is just like let's watch the whole thing and then
Mm.
like let's not like shy away from this reminded me of a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, very
This
much
required,
so.
yeah, this very much reminded me of a Clockwork Orange and Man Bites Dog in particular. When I said like this is like latter half Man Bites Dog,
Yeah, totally.
which is the worst half of that movie.
Which is the worst half. Um, and so in the footage, there's a family of three, and Otis is
God, it's
assaulting the
so
mother,
dark.
and Henry is cheering him on, and then the camera pans, and we see the husband bound and gagged with a bag over his head,
Mhm.
and he's squirming, and Henry kicks him and tells him to shut up. And as they're filming,
Ugh.
they're late teenage, I would say,
Did
son.
we say, I don't know if we even said violence towards kids in this, but it
He's
whoops.
almost a man.
But
He's almost a man. In
God
the
damn
Jewish tradition, he's already a man.
it. God damn it. But yeah, anyway, go on. Violence towards kids. There you go. Trigger warning.
Sorry, I cracked myself up with in the Jewish tradition
That's a good one.
by the Torah. Um, and they say like, "Oh shit, their kid is
Oh,
home." And just that perfect movie thing where Henry drops the camera and it just does like a perfect flip
yeah,
and films
yeah,
him grabbing the kid. They wrestle a little bit. He puts him in a headlock and then he snaps his neck directly in front of his mom,
yeah,
which makes her just totally give up.
yeah.
And then Otis snaps her neck and he does it. You can tell he does it to make Henry think he's cool.
Mm-hmm,
Like
mm-hmm.
as bad as everything that's going on is, there's also just this weird thing of like he clearly just wants, like if his
That
dad was
approval.
doing that to
Yeah,
his sister, he was probably doing the same thing to him.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so like
yeah.
he wants
100%.
this approval from a man he thinks is powerful, and
Mm-hmm,
that's Henry.
mm-hmm.
So it's just weird the way, just kind of the way he does it. And then I don't think we see them kill the dad. And then Otis like makes the mom's body like wave to the camera.
Yeah, it's
And
fucking.
then he's
That
like, "Hey,
shit is.
watch this." And he starts to molest the body.
Yeah,
And Henry screams at him and
it's like
tells him to
no.
stop.
Again, bad dog.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
he's a fucking
so
dog.
yeah. Uh, yeah, that shit is rough. And it's literally just man
Oh,
bites dog. It,
Henry does kill the husband with a knife. He pulls out a knife and he goes off screen.
mm-hmm.
I forgot that, but
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, and it is just man bites dog. It's literally the scene in Man Bites Dog where they go to the house, like, and like the first one when the camera crew gets involved.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and God, it's just so gross. And then
it's rough.
Otis,
Yeah, this was the worst scene of the movie for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in contention with something that happens soon.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Spoke too soon. Yep. Whoops.
And then Otis uh plays it in slow motion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I want to watch it again."
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, sick fuck.
That's fucking disturbing, man. It's literally just giving me the ick talking about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so Becky hears that her husband has been jailed for murder, and so quitting her job and getting ready to move back. And
yeah. Well, I wanted to say she's on the phone right when she's getting
yeah.
all of it. So her acting fantastic in that scene. Like incredible acting on that scene to be carrying that by that conversation by yourself to no one. Like
That's true.
that's fucking acting, dog. Like yeah, I was like hell yeah, dude. So yeah, best bit of acting from her in the movie for sure. I think that in that scene. I just had to call it out because I was like, that was really good. They got me in it. And her daughter's name is Lurleen?
Yeah, which
What
is
the fuck?
so weird, Lurleen.
What the fuck is that?
I'm glad you remembered it because I was trying to think of it earlier. I was
Yeah, I had to
like,
write it down because I was like, what the fuck is that name?
what
Lurleen.
that's such a fucking men come from Omicron Persei 9 and women come from
Yeah.
Omicron Persei 7 ass name.
Yeah, you're definitely starting that kid off at a deficit. That's fucking Lurleen. That's fucked up,
Lurleen,
man. That's
Lurleen,
yeah, Lurleen,
Lurleen,
Lurleen.
Lurleen. I'm begging of you, learn to read and brush your teeth. Lurleen, Lurleen.
God damn it.
You know the fentanyl lean? That's the Lurleen.
That's the Lurleen. It's so dumb. Move on. It's fucking
Okay.
stupid.
Okay, that's the riff meter going off. I've got to move on.
That was good. This fucking episode is gonna be so dumb to edit.
It is, and I thank you for your service. Otis and Henry
Uh,
are in the car driving around, And Otis, like as he's embracing it, he's just like Henry is so measured and calm, and Otis is just a rabid animal. Otis is like, "Ooh, that one! No, that one! No, that one! Ooh, I want to kill
Yeah,
that
yeah,
lady! Oh, look at
yeah.
her! She's pretty. Can we kill her, Henry?"
He's a dog at the window, just
And
fucking wagging his tail.
and then he's hanging out the window, as Henry turns the car, that he like smacks into a pole and smashes the camera.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
And
then he starts blaming him.
yeah,
It's
he
like,
throws the
look at
camera
what you
out.
made me do.
Yeah, he's like, man, you didn't even tell me you were turning all this shit. And he's like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
blame me. And you could tell Henry's starting to get
He's
annoyed
just
with
over. Yeah, he's
Otis's
fed
fucking
up with
lip.
him. Yep.
And Otis is it's funny in like a different movie when he threw the camera down, I was like, oh, but there's a tape in there of all the horrible things you guys have done. In
I was
another
thinking that too, because they kind of linger on when he's like driving, and I was like, oh, he's gonna realize. He's got to
I,
realize,
I,
right, that they've got all the
I
other shit on there.
yeah, I thought so too, but that's just for a smarter movie.
Yeah, fair enough. We're too smart for the movie.
Apparently. And then Otis says that he wants to get a beer, and Henry's like, "Okay, then fucking go do it." And he's like, he stops the car and pushes him out
hmm
basically. And then when he gets home, tells Henry what's going on, that she's gonna leave, and she's basically like, oh, if you were to want me to stay, I would stay though, like fuck my daughter. I don't really care about her.
hmm
And he's just like, no, no, I don't like you. You can go. And she's not getting the
Oh
hint.
God.
So she tries to seduce him, and she's like kissing on him and getting naked, and Otis shows up and is like, "Oh, keep going." And Henry gets hell of uncomfortable, and he's like, "Yeah, I need to go buy cigarettes. I need to get some air. I'm not like into
I need
that
to
and
go catch a
whatever."
body real quick.
And so he leaves, and he encounters this woman walking her dog, and they have this awkward ass encounter. And
This
he,
one was weird. I really want to know what you think of this scene because this was very. I thought this was an interesting thing to add, but I ultimately don't know if it added up to anything.
well, this is someone else's read on it. I'm not going to take credit, but I do agree
Okay.
with this.
Okay.
He follows her for a while,
Mm.
and then he changes his mind.
Yeah.
He breaks off. But him doing that, he wasn't able to focus on like what was going on at home, and that he had to return to that. And also he just like kind of didn't care.
Mm.
But then he's like, I shouldn't murder this lady. I should just go back home. So he goes back home,
Interesting.
and
Yeah,
when
because I
he
was like, I saw her with a dog, and I was like, don't you fucking do this right now? Like, I was like, I emotionally
I don't
can't
have
take
the
that
heart
right
for
now. I
this.
don't have, I don't have that fucking dog in me right
That's funny.
now.
So unfortunately, someone does have a dog up them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when
Oh,
when
god
when we
damn
cut
it.
back to the home, Otis is raping Becky,
Yeah,
just straight up raping
yeah.
his sister.
It's
There's
literally
there's
just,
no,
yeah.
we don't see the fight or anything. It's
hmm
just it's happening when we're there.
Yeah, yeah.
And Henry's walking in all calm and slow, not hearing it or whatever. Opens the door, sees him, and immediately starts beating the shit out of him.
hmm
Otis gets the upper hand for a moment and is getting ready. He hits him with a bottle in his head.
Yeah, which is pretty fucking. I was like, wow, that didn't do some damage right off the top because that shit was huge.
Yeah, yeah, that would be real bad in real
Yeah.
life. And then he's like getting ready to go for the kill, and Becky pops up with this comb with like this long pointy handle and
Yeah.
stabs him in the eye, and he starts screaming like a bitch.
Dude, it's a good little cut like in terms of like effects from that time.
Oh,
It's
it's
really
so
good.
funny. It's
It's
so
really good.
funny.
Yeah, it's a quick
It's
cut like to the fucking
I
dummy.
mentioned Cell Block 99 earlier.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not in
It,
years, but yeah, yeah, yeah.
very similar to the head dummy that we
Oh,
get
okay,
at the end of
okay.
Cell Block
That's funny.
99. Like the very last shot when he gets shot in the head in Cell Block 99. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
but it lingers on it for like 5 seconds. It's just like,
yeah.
why, you dick? Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's bad editing.
But yeah, this like ghostly paper mache head They get stabbed. And then he starts
Yeah.
screaming, and I think the screaming is very purposeful because it just shows like he tries to be so powerful, but he's really so weak. And
Mm-hmm.
then Henry takes the comb and stabs him to death.
He
And
like guts his ass, like or
yeah.
like at least he like drives the knife fucking like to the
Yeah,
side or
like
some shit.
in the
Like
like up into the
it's the
sternum, and then he's
sternum
he's
and
like
like
stirring his lungs and heart up.
it's
Like,
yeah, I
yeah.
was like, that shit is graphic,
He
dog.
gets in
Like,
there.
yeah. For the movie not being as violent up until this point, I know saying that and everything we've just discussed is fucking immediately, I'm eating my words, but for the blatant violence to not be like shied away from, essentially, for them to be like lingering on it, this is the most like quote unquote graphic it gets in the movie, is like as bloody as it gets, because like
Yeah.
the other ones is like strangling and stuff. Even on the TV it wasn't even that like it was bloody, like
But it was
20.
more like you said, it was exploitation,
Yeah,
so it was
yeah,
more
yeah,
just like
yeah.
fun and funny.
Yeah, it was more
It
like
was
a
more just
almost
like, isn't
like
that
I
wacky?
hesitate to use the word comedic, but it plays
It
almost as
was.
you know what I mean, like as
Yeah.
that. But like this one is just like, whoa, shit, that's okay, that's dark. That's why I say that the movie takes a tonal like nosedive at the end, because it is
Yeah.
very all
It
of this
just
shit just gets bleaker.
it yeah, it goes from like there's a level of oh, hey, I smashed the camera. Get the fuck out of my
Yeah,
car, to
yeah,
just
yeah.
just like straight up incestual rape.
Yeah, Jesus.
You
I
know?
know. That's what I'm saying. And in that way, that is like what an exploitation movie does at the same time, too.
True.
That's exactly how that, goes.
Yeah.
But I was just it was interesting to see how that like translated to this type of movie. Because again, first half of this movie, I'm cracking up at the needle drops and some of this. I'm cracking up at some of the stuff, like some of the dialogue choices too. I was like, what the fuck? That's hilarious. And then it just like goes to the cuts to the videotape part. I'm like, oh, don't like
Yeah.
this right now.
Yeah, not
It's
having a
like,
good
oh, that
time
was, yeah,
anymore.
exactly. I was like, oh, this is rough. So yeah, it was very interesting. But yeah, that kill was violent and very over the top, but very much fits in. It's a nice capper to this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Not, fucking build you up, break you down.
Build you
Fucking
anew.
exactly. Hoorah. and and she's just like screaming and crying, and
Yeah.
he starts yelling at her to shut up and let him think. Like she's like, oh, he's so compassionate, he saved me, but then she's
Yeah.
like, why aren't we calling the police, what do we do? And he's like,
Hmm.
shut up, I'm not calling the police, shut up, let me
Hmm.
think. And she like puts her face in the couch, and then he
He
picks
goes
up
straight to work,
right to
bro.
work, picks up Otis's body,
Crazy.
dismembers his head and his hands in the
Uh,
bathtub, and then more, I'm
it's the
guessing.
sound design for me. The sound design was
Hmm.
excellent of this motherfucker.
The
This was great.
squelching.
Yeah, dude, and it's like the tugging, and he's like he the way it's shot is shot from the back too. So like he's like Otis is laying head first into the tub, and then Henry is like it has his back to the camera, knees in the tub, kind of like standing next to him or sitting next to him, and he's like sawing at it. But he's like digging the fuck in there. Like you hear, and like every single like pullback and like thrust that he's making has so much weight to it because of the sound design being what it is. I was like, that's yeah, this is great. I was like, this is fucking. I feel sick to my stomach. This is excellent.
69,
Yeah.
dude. Fucking
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It
Yeah, it's
is.
rough. It's rough, man. This is a good ass dismemberment scene though.
Hmm. Sure is. And
Yep.
she's just in the other room like shook. And
Hmm.
then the two are in his car, and they drive along a river, get out of the car,
Well, they
and
they they walk out with a bunch of luggage, like heavy ass
yeah.
luggage, which I was like,
Oh,
oh
and
yeah.
this is interesting because it's the big suitcase that she had at the beginning of the movie, and I'm glad you mentioned that. At the beginning, she
Hmm.
shows up and she has like a bag, a paper bag, and a suitcase, and Otis shows up and picks up the light paper bag and leaves her with the heavy suitcase.
Hmm.
And then when we see these two get in the car, Henry takes all the heavy bags and she
Hmm.
has like smaller ones. I don't know if
Yeah.
you clocked that.
I didn't clock that, but I just knew immediately. I was like, oh, that's how you dispose of a body.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh,
It's
okay.
it was very clear that that's what they were doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they just like leaving. There's something about leaving from the front of the house in an apartment building in a heavily populated area.
Hmm.
Like no, like how does no one know what just
It's
happened?
yeah, well, it's the same thing in them shooting the fucking people right in the middle of a busy ass street. Like,
Yeah, and just leaving the body there.
yeah. And there was
Who do
something
they
too.
think they are? President Donald Trump?
Or white, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that like I I I I think it is also playing into the fantastical element of this to where that's how he felt. He probably felt untouchable. You know what I mean? Well, he's committing all of the murders and stuff. Not the real Henry. I'm just saying, like Henry
Yeah,
as
the
the character.
character. Yeah.
He felt like I'm invincible, like or I'm invisible to the
He
police. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
basically can do whatever the fuck I want and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like you can be one or the other. You can be calculated and
Hmm.
pure evil, or you can be reacting to trauma and all the things that have happened to you. I feel like it's pretty hard to like believably be both.
Yeah. There's a lot of layers to
Yeah.
both of those arguments, but yeah, 100%. I do agree with you ultimately.
So they dump the body, and then as they're driving overnight, he suggests that they go to California, which he mentioned earlier. He was headed to California, that his sister has a ranch outside of San Bernardino, and that they'll send for her daughter when they arrive. And then she says, "I love you, Henry." And he goes
I guess
like 10 minutes pass, and then he goes, "I guess I love you too."
that was a good like bit of dialogue though. I thought it was a really
Oh, definitely.
yeah, it's
It
very effective for his character.
And it goes back to what he said earlier. I guess I did then, which is just like I don't-
Oh
I
yeah,
just want
that's
the
a good one.
conversation to
Yeah.
end, whatever, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh,
And
that's a good wraparound. Yeah.
and then they book a motel room, and when they're in the room, she's like trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Shut up, go to bed. We should go to sleep." And then we see in the morning him shaving with a straight razor, getting all his stuff together, and he gets in the car,
I think
and
that's
we
the cover of the movie, right?
yes,
Yeah, him in the movie. Yeah, him in the mirror.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see him leave without Becky, and then he goes as he's driving, stops at the side of a road, and dumps her bloodstained suitcase in a ditch and
Yeah.
drives away.
Yeah.
And
And that's Henry.
that's Henry, portrait of a
That's
serial killer.
yeah, man. Fucking great a great ending. Great it's a great ending too. It's like, yeah, of course. Like like that it's an ending that reaches the logical conclusion for his character. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, because you see him so uncomfortable and so like, I don't know what to do with this the entire movie. It's like, yeah, he's gonna fucking do that and then go about his business. Like,
It's funny to imagine an alternate cut of this movie where like everyone that he thought he kills, they all just like wake up the next day.
that's fucking good. Yeah, that's the movie you need to write. That's amazing. That's a great premise, actually.
That yeah, I'm actually gonna write that down. That's pretty funny. He's
That's
like
a great premise too. Because again, like yeah, like it does go into the whole thing of like it's just mirroring the real situation. None of this mirrors the real situation. None of this actually goes into the fucking like none of this is playing into the reality of the situation. But again, as a film, as like a thought experiment, yeah, let it run rampant. Let it go as far as you can. Let that story go as far as it can go. You know what I mean? And I really really enjoy that aspect of like as a character, as a thought experiment. Here's Henry Lee Lucas. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
a tale of Henry Lee Lucas or a tale by.
Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
Man, Amanda was not home, and then someone must have like let her into the garage because she normally tells me. I just started hearing like sounds inside the house, and I was just like, "Am I getting home invaded right now? Is this gonna be the best content ever?" Because if someone comes through that door and blows my head off, I want you to get the views from it. I want you to get the ad revenue. Okay? So
I
like,
appreciate that we
hey,
have that in
hey,
recording
hey,
now.
when I die, listeners, say that someone you know died and you need time for
You it's time
bereavement.
to grieve, exactly.
Okay? Use me as an
Exactly.
excuse.
Yeah, hard same, hard same.
Fuck them.
Oh man, that's fun. But okay, so what are we gonna get into ratings then, or
I
do you
mean, tell
wanna
me a little more about like the real people, like what it got right and what it didn't. Like I feel like
I'm telling you, most of this is not accurate. Most of this is just not accurate. Which the fact that they even, I don't know, I haven't looked it up extensively, but do they actually claim that this is based on a true story? Because it has to be like what
I,
based on true events. I think would be the way of,
I don't think it
or
it
no, I
says
mean, I think
I don't think
like
it says any. I think it just says it's
oh,
based
it just
on
says
the
loosely
people.
based. Yeah, loosely based on convicted real life serial
Yeah,
killers.
so I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
think in the marketing material they even said like based on a true story or anything like that. It just
Mhm.
was, you
Oh
know.
yeah, but it very much is like I said. He was just both of them are just so pathetic as just people. Like he was fighting for his innocence towards the end after everyone had pretty much been like, "Well, dude, you've just bullshit us for the entire run of I don't even know how long that went on for years. It went on for years. He just was. They built an entire task force just to investigate the claims of his crimes."
Hmm.
Just to close out the cases, and the leaders of that task force are the ones that were responsible for feeding him that information, leading them, like essentially leading him or leading them on. I, if that's a good way,
Hmm.
leading them to confessions, essentially leading them to closed cases. He's just
Yeah,
leading, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like he's just the poster boy for like, okay, you need. They were literally like, bring him a carton of cigarettes and he'll tell you whatever you want to know. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? It was insane. If you just want to get angry even more at the police, just watch that documentary series.
Jesus.
It is fascinating, but most of the like absurdity in that docu-series comes from the fact that the police were allowed to operate in this fashion, where like even the district attorney at the time went against them and got the fucking feds put on his ass. Like they were like, oh yeah, really, you want to fuck with us, we're gonna fuck up your entire shit. So they were like, okay, they claimed like he was taking bribes, that he was like helping people with DWIs, like completely like turning a blind cheek to it, like he wasn't prosecuting people properly. They were just like running a smear campaign towards the DA at the time, and he was just like, all I said was that maybe his stories don't add up. What the fuck?
That's crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, dude. So like that's what I'm saying. The story goes way deeper than just Henry Lee Lucas and Ottis Toole. Like Ottis Toole is really like a background character a lot of the time because he really was not, as far as I know, that you can tell in the interviews and stuff that they were having with him. He really was just yes anding a lot of the shit, and a lot of it went back to like his love of Henry. Like he was doing it just to please Henry and to keep Henry like happy, and Henry was getting this positive validation from getting all of these like, thank you for closing this. Like you're like, our family was lost for years and you gave us the closure because you decided to say I did it and man up and take that responsibility. And then he was like, yeah, I did it because God told me to. I was like, oh my God.
Jesus.
Like, wow, dude. It's fascinating. As a story, fascinating.
It's
None of it is true.
it's
None
it's
of
it's
that.
interesting just looking at their wiki pages. It looks
Mhm.
like Otis probably killed more people. We know Otis killed.
Claimed, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he was convicted of 6 counts of murder.
Oh, okay, okay. Actually convicted. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so he got 2 death sentences
mm-hmm. Yeah.
plus
Whereas,
4 life sentences.
interesting. Yeah. Whereas Henry got one life sentence finally out of all of those fucking people, or he was facing multiple life sentences, but he got one that actually stuck. And then after that was when he came out and he was like, "Yeah, I actually didn't do any of these murders. Like, you guys got the wrong person and shit." And then like, yeah, in the documentary, in the docu series later on, they actually end up uh, realizing that through DNA evidence, they found a killer for one of the cases that they claimed that he claimed responsibility for.
Hmm.
So it was like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, if one
Jeez.
was miscounted, like you just fucking like that. In my eyes, that just dismisses all of the hundreds of murders that he was claiming to be a part of. You know what I mean? If even one
Yeah.
was untrue, so.
Yeah, that's true. It does start to unravel there.
Mm-hmm.
From what I'm reading, there's 6 that they convicted him for, Otis, and then there's a 6-year-old boy that was killed,
Yeah.
and the father of that boy uh firmly believes that he did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. There may have been real cases, like there really may have been. I really don't put that beyond any shred of doubt. But to the extent that they claimed, no, no, absolutely not. None of the murders happened the way that they claimed later on. Like he was literally just being fed the evidence beforehand and then being told to regurgitate it like a book report. You know what I mean?
That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
that's wild. I am seeing here though that it does say that Otis was also sexually abused. That
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, no, no. But no one had a good upbringing in this entire
Mhm.
like no one had a great fucking childhood at all, at all. But yeah, Otis is one that I know less about, but Henry was the one who took all of the limelight because, he was just like, "Yeah, I did it." Oh yeah, Otis was there too.
It's interesting that they both share their parents dressing them up as girls.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's a really weird detail for any 2 people to
Yeah,
share.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not an uncommon one though amongst serial killers. I think like Dahmer's mom did the same
That's
thing.
so
Like, yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's a
Like, do they
very
know? Was that like the plan?
Oh,
You
right.
know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly
So
right. No,
first you
no, no.
build a robot and then you
Yeah,
molest
yeah,
it. Like, what the fuck
exactly.
are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. It really is one of those things that we're like, we'll never really know the truth behind, how many and what and to what extent all of it was true. But the vast majority of the things that Henry Lee Lucas claimed were absolutely false. Absolutely false. So that's why I mean this movie works as a great movie. It works as a great like movie and as a thought experiment, but none of it at all holds any water.
Yeah. So I will say too, Lucas died of heart failure in 2001,
Yep.
and Toole died of cirrhosis of the liver at 49,
Jesus,
which
too long. He lived too
96.
fucking long.
Yeah, and well,
That
at
was
least he
fucking.
went a horrible way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I think Lucas was actually about to be pardoned by George Bush. Like I think that's what because George Bush is featured in the documentary.
Why?
Because he was governor at the time, and so
Oh,
he
so
had
I
the power to stay the execution.
I guess that makes sense if ultimately he probably didn't. Well, he did like 1 or 2 of them,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know? So
Hmm.
like yeah, ultimately he's been in jail. At that point he'd been in jail for like 27 years. So yeah, that's more than you should get for like 1 or 2 murders, I guess,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
know?
Yeah, well, he had served. That's the thing. Before that, he had served the time in prison for his mom's death. So, like for killing his mother, he had already served that time. By the time, he had served that, and then he told them on like I think when he's up for parole the second time, or one of the times he was up, he was like, "Don't release me. I'm gonna kill again."
Mm.
And they were like, "Gotta go because there's overpopulation issues, so you
Gotta
gotta be out."
skim that
You
scum.
got yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's fucked, but ultimately, I would recommend that, and then obviously the last podcast on the left has a really last podcast on the left has a really good series on it. It's on their older stuff, so lot of words being thrown around that aren't so chill anymore. But
Yeah.
but it's a good series for a lot of like if you want to dive into like the more fantastical elements because there was a whole
Oh,
subplot going on about a cult that they were involved in
yeah,
too,
which
like the
did
Hand of
not
Death
exist.
did not exist. Yeah, it was called the Hand of Death, and like he wrote a book with the author too, actually. But he wasn't credited for some reason, but it was like hours of interviews that this guy had given him, and he he wrote a whole ass story. He wrote fan fiction about his goddamn self, bro. It's fucking crazy, man.
God, I want to see the thing about Becky because on Wiki it says that they did the whole thing where they thought that they were married. Then he says he killed her, and then he said that like he confessed to that killer or to that kill. I've
Yeah.
killed for the past 10 years, and no one will believe me. I cannot go on doing this. I killed the only girl I ever loved.
Hmm.
And it says on Wiki that it's believed that he did murder them. So I really want to see the thing that where it says.
No, she straight up interviewed, dude. It's
That's so
fucking
funny.
crazy. She was just like, that was some weird shit, man.
Look, I'll say this. In my many years, everyone always says that Wikipedia is unreliable. This is the first time I've seen a real just lie on it. All right?
It's just a blatant ass lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what comes with it though. Like I think like because he was such an unreliable narrator, you just don't know what to believe half the time. So I believe that kind of like feeds into the meta narrative of this story, of like of this movie. I mean, you know what I mean, in particular. So it kind of, it works as again as a thought piece, as a movie, as a centralized experience and like a thing works so well. But like the more you dive into the real case of what actually happened, you're just like, oh, it's kind of all bullshit.
God.
Well, yeah. So I mean, should that get us into the ratings then?
Yes, but let me just read this and then we'll do it.
Let's do it.
Lucas's credibility was damaged by his lack of precision. He initially admitted to having killed 60 people, a number he raised to over 100 victims, which
Mhm.
police accepted, and then to a figure of 600 that led to him not being taken seriously.
They're like, okay, 100, we get it. 600, that's a bit much, buddy.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, all right, this guy's full of shit. Fuck him. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's do the ratings.
Let's do it. We like to rate out of 6 on this show. It's my turn to go, and I will say I've been thinking about it a lot. I think I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 6.
mm,
I really, really enjoyed it, but it because it did something. Let me say why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it did the tonal flip towards the latter half of the film really just fucked with me. Like I was like, that's an effective flip. Like the way that they played with the format, the way that they introduced things like kind of slowly and then like all at once in your face. Really well done. I thought that was it was effective storytelling in that sense. I don't know how much of a rewatch value this has for me though.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
this
don't
goes
know.
back on the shelf forever.
For sure, for sure. But like I don't know, like but as like getting so engulfed in the story and stuff has been an interesting like kind of space for me to occupy. I definitely need a palate cleanser after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a movie, it worked really well. I think the performances were fantastic. Rooker in particular was fantastic. What was her name? Who played Becky?
I think Sarah Arnold, something like that.
Yes, got her. Tracy Arnold. Tracy Arnold.
Tracy Arnold.
Yeah, Tracy
I
Arnold.
I know someone named Sarah Arnold. That's
Yeah,
why.
interesting. But yeah, Tracy Arnold did fantastic. She was, like I said, that one scene on the phone really it really showed her acting skills off. I think that was a really good little moment. Um, but yeah, I think a 4 out of 6 is the highest I can give this one. It is great. It in the vein of exploitation films, I think this is a great one. And if you're trying to show, like, if someone asks what is an exploitation film really, like, what does it consist of, you can kind of just show them this movie, You know,
If,
like
if, if that reminds me of when we were doing Phantom and Amanda was like, "So what's camp?" And I was like,
yeah, yeah.
I was like, "You're gonna know after this."
Yeah, exactly. So like this would be the poster child for, just exploitation in film. I think that's kind of that's where this movie occupies like the space in this conversation, and I feel like that's just the most I can give it. But I really enjoyed it as a film. It's great. It's a very effective piece of art, and I've always talked about that. If it moves you, then the artwork itself is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, what'd you think?
Oh man, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at is like in that kind of neighborhood. I got to commit to something here. I think I'll agree and give it a 4. I was like between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a very interesting ride. I think there's more meat on the bone than I initially thought. I remember watching this for the first time, and it was one of those movies where I just felt trapped in the room
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
in what was happening. It's just like you can't look away, but you want to. And I remember it being so much worse than it was, and I think that's a credit to it
Oh
though,
yeah, yeah,
because it's really not that graphic compared to a lot of things that we've covered.
yeah. Or
But
we'll cover.
fucking wink wink. Um, but it just sticks with you, and I think it's the banality and that is just so real life. Like
Yeah.
real life evil is not the Joker going, there's a boat full of criminals and a boat full of regular people. Like
Yeah,
real life
yeah.
evil is a guy who was molested and humiliated by his dad,
Mhm.
and he responds by raping his sister.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and I say that no
There's
non-jokingly as
no joke in there.
possible.
Yeah, absolutely no.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's real
That's
life
just
evil,
real life. Yeah, yeah.
and it exists
Hmm.
and is out there. So
Yeah.
and there's a merit to talking about it and covering it and showing it and not shying away from it. But yeah, it's not the most technically triumphant, rewatchable movie. But I think if you're in this space, or even if you like true crime, like if you in it's such a weird thing to like enjoy listening to that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that with shade, but I just mean like even for us to be like, yeah, I really like Irreversible is like a crazy
Hmm.
thing to say out loud. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, but if you're indulging in that world
Yeah.
and you're,
You can have a
in
fascination with true crime, though. I think it's
yeah, well, I
kind
just
of
mean
healthy to have that
if
morbid
if
fascination.
you're enjoying that stuff,
Hmm.
then I feel like you have a responsibility to watch this and a couple other movies like it
True.
and really
True.
reckon with what you're deriving your entertainment from instead
Yeah,
of just
yeah.
having it be audio, faceless, nameless. Like watch bad stuff
Yeah, and like,
happen.
and that's the thing with like police procedurals and stuff like that. You're usually just seeing crime scene photos, or you're just hearing the evidence after the fact and stuff like that. So I think like you're right, with a movie like this, it kind of puts you firmly in the actual act as it's happening.
They call it Ohio Gats. Kids snort it up and eat it with kitty litter. Kills them in 5 days.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you're actually watching it, it is a different. It does. You're right. You're right. I think it is important to watch the movie as well as if you're deriving any sort of like fascination from the content of like learning about the real.
You should have
Yeah.
to face it a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
don't think
Yeah.
there's anything wrong with getting the education and the entertainment from it, but you
Mhm.
should also kind of have to face it and be like, just be honest. Like we can be honest with like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're deriving entertainment from this and it is fucked up stuff, but it also speaks to the core of humanity. And you can
Yeah.
say the same thing about true crime, but I think you've got to kind of face those things. Like for us, we've got to get to the philosophical meat to be able to like really justify a lot of these things.
Oh
And if
yeah.
you're
Yeah.
into that kind of stuff, again, it's fine, but I do think you have a little bit of responsibility to reckon with the reality of the
Hmm.
like they're
Hmm.
not just
It's not
stories.
just yeah, it's not just like nameless victims. It's not just like, body counts and shit. Like there are actual people behind that. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. This is a way of like humanizing the victims in a weird sense, but in a way it is humanizing the victim at the same time, because that's the thing. They just become a statistic when you're watching the true crime doc. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh yeah, and then this person and the body was found and all that, and then you have their family member crying, and you're just like, yeah, that sucks for them, but let me hear about the killing and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's like a real thing. Like family members
Hmm.
of shit being like, I like stop. I don't want to
Yeah.
be on your
Yep.
podcast.
Yep.
Like I'm not a celebrity. My sister died, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're right. And like in that sense, yeah, for sure it is important to be watching some shit like this too. So
Yeah, just embrace the reality of it and understand these are real people's lives, and I think as long as you have that, it's okay.
hmm.
But when you just like, oh man, I love just like I like it's just so much fun. It's like, okay, that's crazy to say. You know, like
Fun is the wrong word.
yeah, yeah, like it can be fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, for
That,
sure.
But anyway, soapbox away. Hit them with the socials. Let them know what we're doing next week, and let's get the
Absolutely.
fuck out of here.
Yeah, so next week we are actually going to be doing an actual palate cleanser this time. We kind of said that last time, but
The ebbs and flows.
yeah.
We're like we're getting back to the brutal stuff. Oh, that was
Yeah.
bad. Zootopia next week.
Yeah, exactly. So next week, so I don't fuck up the name, I'm gonna. It's a long one. So we're covering humanist vampires seeking consenting suicidal person. By Ariane Louise Cizé. Oh, I cannot pronounce that.
or
French movie.
or in his native tongue, Vampire humaniste cherche suicidaire
Yeah,
consentant.
yeah. This was one of my recent finds. Found this one on Shutter and had a fucking blast. This is genuinely one I cannot wait to talk about on this show
I'm
because it's
excited.
very.
Ever since I saw the poster, I was like, yes.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you right now, not the movie I was expecting going into it, which was wild to me, which I was like, okay, did not expect the comedic angle to be there at all present. But fantastic movie. Recent one, I believe this just came out like 2 years ago, maybe even like a year ago. Let me look this up real
It's
quick.
23.
23. Yeah. So about 2 years ago now. But yeah. So that is what we're getting next week for a palate cleanser. Go check that one out. I'm so excited about that movie. But we are coming back with that. I have let's see, our socials. Facebook, Devil's Work Podcast, Instagram, The Devil's Work Pod, TikTok, The Devil's Work Podcast. I
Yes.
always get them mixed up. And then the email that we have set up for you guys can drop us a line. Anything you guys we may have missed, anything you guys want to correct us on, let us know. The Devil's Work Podcast at gmail.com. We are very open to all of that. We are not combative at all.
Not at all.
No,
Not at
not at all. Not
all.
at all.
Unless
Don't force my hand.
unless I catch you on the street doing hate crimes to an old lady.
Exactly.
Then we got
Uh,
fucking problems, bro.
Exactly. And you guys can find me on Twitch. I am actually doing a lot more over there. I'm picking it up lately, doing a lot of photo editing, music editing on there. But I'm also like when I'm done with that, I pretty much just throw on a movie. So watching some horror movies. We watched Deadstream, which was we're gonna be doing an episode on that one too, by the way. It's very fucking good.
I'm guessing
Uh
that's like technology and zombies.
Yeah, in a very not zombies per se. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. I was cracking up and like very impressed with the technical skills on that one, but that's for another time. We watched that on there. Go check me out. Twitch.tv/sideshow PSY, spell it right. And I don't know. Is that all the housekeeping for today?
I believe that's all of the housekeeping. Go with God,
Via con
spread
Dios.
love, and yeah, have your coffee at a reasonable time so you're not
I was
cranky.
I was gonna end on something with coffee too. Thank you. That's amazing.
I lack the energy for a
Oh,
snarky joke after all
with
of this. I just
burgers, go no. When this is with
oh
burgers, fuck off, dude. That's
that's
disgusting. It's wrong, and
wait,
you're a
hold on,
bad
hold on,
person.
hold on. But how do you feel if it's a breakfast burger?
Okay, then we're talking something different. That's a different discussion. That's an
Okay,
off mic conversation.
okay, all right.
All right.
Well, I need to know, so we're going off mic.